Let's go.
Oh, wrong one, Ram. All right, guys, welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil's here, Sean's here. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you, so make sure to check out the Midday How to Trade show, the Dare and I, and get into the chat and vote for the tickers as decided by you every day. Yep, here's a look at the T or the triple Qs, 1.4% in the negative. We breached that 19,000 point mark on the NQ September contract, and we continued to move down. A lot of weakness today in the Mag 7, trying to recover a little bit right now. We'll see if that continues into the afternoon. The biggest loser on the day in Mag 7 world, you don't really need me to tell you that. You can see that chart. Huge move to the downside. NVIDIA selling off aggressively as we got news yesterday that Apple chose to go with Google's Tensor Processing Unit, TPU for short, instead of getting NVIDIA's GPUs, and that has NVIDIA selling off aggressively, guys. I know you guys traded this one today. What's the look?
Apparently, I don't know. I was muted a second ago. Thank you, Ramin, for reminding me there. You know, it is what it is. We haven't actually had one of those incidents all week.
Yeah, what's up with that?
You know what? Just for that, tomorrow morning I'm going to be disconnected from. No, I'll be muted just for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, all right. No, do it for a couple minutes. Do it for a couple minutes.
Oh,
it's all right. Yeah, just let's go the full way right there. Look at this long that we have in Starbucks right now. We have one long today. We talked about this one here coming into earnings. This Starbucks trade, 77 cents in the money, and still have 20% on.
Actually, I think
right now.
If you're offering, I can get a water.
A water?
Yeah. What's wrong with water?
Never ever bring them water.
What's wrong with water? It literally gives us life. Water is important. You got to stay hydrated, man. Like, what's wrong with water? Okay.
I'm
getting grief. I'm getting grief for
Starbucks. I went and got $1 coffee here as the dollar drink days kicking in. Oh no!
Good deal.
We just took $1 again on NVIDIA. All right. We talked about. Remember when we left? I said that okay, we're negative on the day, and we've had 3 negative days this month. I checked; it was more than 2. It was 3. And then we came back right now. Dun, 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 dun. You know, it's just you got to stay positive. You got to stay in your zone. We talk like the midday show is great. Lots of lessons. It's absolutely fantastic. And by the way, Adair and Sharif killing it right there. So, I mean, very, very proud of all the changes that I've seen there.
Oh, wow.
But look, we went long and then we just went damn short. Flip up your games and let's go. So there's NVIDIA. Boom. We just did this right now here. Now NVIDIA from being the worst name today to number 1. And I mean, that's what it's all about, you know.
Thanks, Randy.
Find the trends, find who you are, and get right back in that damn seat right now. It's like, Randy, it's like when I'm teaching and coaching these girls, you know, they strike out, whatever, it's all good. You know, get back on that horse and boom it out there right now. Okay. Was really proud of my daughter. She hit her first home run, and she got the player of the game. And now we're ready to rock and roll. So thank you so much, Frank S. You probably mean Neil is the best trader of all time because you did not tag anybody. So Neil's right there. We're both right here all the time. And yeah, just thank you so much for all the support again. On the show, man.
You didn't say she hit the first home run. That's a big one, man.
I think it was. I mean, it was during a rep game. It was during the Ontario Mega.
Oh, you're saying she might have hit one in the house league, but hadn't hit one in rep.
Well, obviously, maybe a T-ball or something like that.
Hitting one for the travel team is obviously a bigger deal than hitting one in T-ball.
Aaron
nothing wrong.
She'll be hitting some bombs.
Dude, the one kid there's this one kid on my daughter's team who's like a couple of years older than her. He's a big boy. Yeah. Like he hits a jacket game. And I mean, he comes up.
T-ball, it's about size, right?
He comes to bat, and like before I would pitch, before I was still pitching, he would come to bat, and he's the only one. I'm turning around. Does every kid on the other team have their head up? Yeah. And are they paying attention? If they're not, I'll say, hey, everybody pay attention because like he almost took my head off one time.
Last night at practice, I was like, dude, you can't stay in the infield because we have some small kids. You got to get them out of the infield.
Yeah, it's just a safety thing. Because at that age, 7, 8, 9 years old, the gaps can be huge. Before we get back to NVIDIA, Tenable is exploring a sale. This is TENB. Just came across the old Benzinga in the ear. Check them out. So it didn't hear any specific details in terms of price, but exploring a sale. Obviously, a big volume spike on Tenable here. Breaking it out. until you know any firm details, just sort of play it with, hey, you have resistance that's 46, 46 and a half. If it can try to bounce in that range, I'd look for a little something. I guess like we're talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA is at VWAP. Sean already mentioned this. So NVIDIA is bleeding. NVIDIA is at VWAP, short VWAP, I guess. And we're going to get AMD aftermarket tonight.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. AMD aftermarket tonight. ARM on Thursday. You're going to get some really big chip names that have to put up or shut up because they're even more expensive on a PE basis than NVIDIA. Believe it or not. Most people think AMD is NVIDIA is super overpriced. ARM and AMD, same thing. Same thing.
We're also short on AMD. Oh. Remember when Obi wore these, man? Obi made me look like a fool when Obi was wearing these, man. Obi is something else. We're also short right now AMD. So we finally put AMD. And again, there's AMD. Just put it on. Boom. Right back in there, man. All right. Back over to the big kahuna himself.
I got to get you a new name, Sean. Just give me some time. I'll have one for you. All right, triple Q's up next. You see that down 1 1/3. It's been a tough day, or it's been a tough couple of weeks for these tech-heavy names. Then NQ, the triple Q here, the ETF derivative. So we're expecting Microsoft earnings tonight. We're also expecting AMD, Starbucks coming through, First Solar as well coming through. That's been a very interesting solar trade as they make local North American solar panels. Wouldn't be subject to that 100% tax coming out of China, as well as Pinterest, social media on watch today. And yeah, we're kind of holding our breath here for the second largest company in the NQ, guys.
Luna ad. I got to talk to this guy. We got to get our Benzinga thing popping off here.
He's coming back on.
It's coming back. It's coming.
Today's Tuesday.
Oh, does he come on every week now?
Is he coming? I don't know.
Is that guy moving on up or what? All right.
Not today. He's not on.
Yeah, he's not on today. Okay. All right. So Q's. Oh, please! I almost threw up in my mouth there. We had missed the best trade by literally pennies. I mean, it was right here today on the TQQ, right here. So it already showed us its face that it wanted to go down. Then for some reason, it dared us to short VWAP. And I just wasn't on it. I came across my scanner. I went right over there. I offered. I missed it. I stayed there for a couple seconds. Then it started to go down. Then I offered 79s. Then I offered 76s. Next time I'm punching in. When these levels evaporate like that, you cannot get shares. So we should be short right here. And man, that would have been epic. But we're not. So it doesn't really matter along end of the day. But I feel like pullbacks into VWAP is what we're looking for. And right there, like I said, man, good day trading. I bought, so the only thing I did here during the afternoon was I bought more NVIDIA. I bought more NVIDIA in my account. I'm not going to buy the Qs or anything like that.
It's funny you say that.
I do think that, I do think that it's, hold on a second. I just want to look at the weekly chart here for the NASDAQ. So I don't do the whole dollar cost averaging thing. Like, we'll wait. I don't actually own any NASDAQ. I don't actually own any indexes really other than some of the ETFs we talk about. But you know, if I was going to do this is a weekly chart. I just think that there's a lot of movement in the NASDAQ for sure, but it's not like a slow grind, right? So I mean, I feel like this could easily grind back into this 420 area. And realistically, I don't want a dollar cost at anything until we're at the 50-period moving average. So I feel like there's a lot more to come here for the NASDAQ. And I do understand buying these dips. And I think if you like the basket of these names, I mean, that's what the triple Qs are, right? The NASDAQ 100. So if you do believe in some of these plays like Apple as a basket, then I feel like you could start to nibble right now. For me, like I said, we already kind of went through this AI kind of bubble phase, obviously, as our daily charts don't split over for NVIDIA. But I just want to say, like, you're down now 35% from the top in NVIDIA, right? Bear market on a stock or anything is 20%. So you're almost in 2 times bear market territory right now for NVIDIA, which is supposed to be the best name on the block. So let's just,
Is it though? I mean, yeah.
You tell me.
It's supposed to be.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's
it drags
supposed to be. So,
yeah,
that's all good. I mean, I wish I knew what the best name was. But I mean, for right now, I just feel like if I'm going to dip by anything, it would be this. And the reason why I'm talking about this with the Qs is, I mean, it's such a big part of the NASDAQ. So yeah, missed opportunity there today, but we'll be back. And I ran the numbers, baby. I ran the numbers. So TQs is number one for me. Then it's NVIDIA, and we came to promise that. And now I've slipped my mind what the third one is. I think it's Apple. So it remains a lot of the bigger names there. And surprisingly enough, my worst stock by far, thanks Obi, is Amazon. So there was 1 or 2 days there when I know that we got ran over there on Amazon. So I remember that. I looked it up. Those are my two.
Amazon was good for the 200 Bezos sell. And everything else has been bamboozlement.
There's a couple of days where I was oversized. I think we talked about that. And again, I have no problem telling you guys all about that. Yeah, and just real quickly, the other name was to my surprise, I'm running perfect on Intel. I don't have any red days on Intel this month. And this month, and you can ask us in the chat, I'm 11-3 so far this month. And hopefully today, knock on wood, we can go 12-4 and put a bow on this month tomorrow. So, so far, so good here this month. And a lot of it has to do with the triple Qs. So that's why we talk about that. My number one stock.
I do pick up the at least one index. There was a point where I actually pivoted away from the Qs when I thought things were top heavy. In a couple of months, I bought the Dow. I was buying the Dow instead because it just felt like a little bit better. No, but this was the first time I went and went back into the Qs. So this time I did, just because it was at that level, and it was a time of the month for me. It had nothing to do with the Qs being at the bottom. I was buying one of the indexes on Q for the same amount every single month, and I just kind of figured, okay, let's go back to this and not buy the Dow again. But that being said, if you look at what's happening, it's a V-shaped recovery from the bottom. Not all the way, but into like this last close on Thursday, and so resistance here at like 458 or so. Man, if we don't take that out, I feel like you could still see a bit of continuation. Like, look at this go sideways from here. Like, if it's not taking out this 58, pretty obvious. I think you get to VWAP at that point and then work to something else. So anything that was this is a short name, this is a weak name, I think you're leaning back towards some of those. I think CrowdStrike's in play if it can get back to 232. That one's been trending down the entirety of the day here. But the Qs, they're at a resistance spot. Maybe not VWAP or not a huge level, but they're certainly at one right now. Let's move on over to SOUN.
SoundHound next, guys. Good day for SoundHound. About 2 4/5 right now into the high side. This is not from today, but they are trading higher as a result of the deal that they launched with ChatGPT to launch, or OpenAI to launch ChatGPT, in Alfa Romeo and Citroën vehicles out in Europe. We know NVIDIA has taken ownership into this company. A good day for it today, trying to come back into local highs, still off that high of the day.
Which stock? Oh, sound.
So there's a question from Mark Knight in the chat here that I wanted to get to because we were just sort of talking about indexes. I don't own any small caps. Do you own any small caps? I don't own IWM or RUT. Like I'll be in and out sometimes in my TFSA, which is kind of like more like I don't know, like the long-term accounts, the RSP, and then TFSA is your tax-free savings account. I'm in some small caps there. I have some Rivian, like stuff like that, but I don't own IWM. And I've been thinking about it, but it's so close. I feel like if it fails those highs, we talk about it every single week with Chris Brecher, how you're right at that top, and the IWM is the last thing to try to get there. And if it fails the high, the market a lot of times has made a big turn. So I'd like to see that resolve itself first. But SOUN, it feels like the airs come out of this one a little bit. So it's up 3% today, but when you zoom out, it comes right back into the 50-period moving average. It's got a new downward channel it's trying to break out. So if you look at it like here, so like if you look at that channel, like it's holding the line, a higher low off of that channel, but I think the bigger one is going to be when it tests in from there. So you got the 50 period, you've got this 480 level, which is currently clearly your Alamo, because if this loses 475, forget about it. Stocks like this, when they lose the support level, you're probably filling in at least a good portion of that gap. And your lower highs into this bottom. If you get a retest of 480, maybe there's a quick little bounce scalp play on this stock. Volume has been dwindling. However, if we're looking at these small cap runners or movers in the afternoon, you want there to be at least maintaining volume, if not growing, not still declining. Like it's still declining in volume on the day. And when that's happening, I don't think those are the ones that you want to gravitate towards. That starts curving back up on the volume. There should be some kind of a trade here in SOUN. A lot of times you're going to see them go with NVIDIA. So the fact that it's up and holding support is a bit of a decent sign when NVIDIA is bleeding today. But unfortunately, volume not good enough for afternoon trades yet. Anything can happen. Where'd he go?
I was going to comment. I was waiting for Sean to comment on that. All right, so SPY next, guys. We already talked about the triple Qs. A bit of a tougher day, obviously, for the tech-heavy NASDAQ. The ES, though, faring a bit better, only down about 0.5%. Don't forget, we have Microsoft after the bell. We also have AMD, Starbucks coming up, Pinterest, First Solar, a lot of big names. No real headline today as the market awaits the FOMC decision tomorrow, guys, at 2:30. What's that look? Or 2?
Yeah, I think, I think the look here for the SPY is just to chill out. Oh, hold on. Microsoft, something about Bloomberg here. Ah, okay. No, they're talking about an unexpected user spike in Azure. Yeah, it's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, too many people using it caused
user spike. What are these guys even talking about? Okay, as Microsoft comes tonight, that should be real fun. Join myself, Adara, and Brian Shannon on tonight. So that should be a lot of fun as we'll do that. Look, I mean, I think that we've already talked a little bit about this before. And that is that it's like, I feel that some of the selling that's been happening over the last couple of days, especially when we're going to talk about the spiders, is anticipation of tomorrow. There still is that 5% chance that they do cut the rates tomorrow. Based on where the markets, I know Powell's not supposed to be looking at the markets and the decision's already in, so they've already made the decision. So yeah, I think you let the SPY continue to bleed down a little bit, to be honest with you. If there's anything, and we'll talk more about specific sectors and all that kind of stuff, I like the banking sector. If there's one that I really like, I like healthcare and things like that. But again, today, I feel like, I don't see when we go over these rundowns, like, I don't know, do you want us to talk about like the trade today? Because again, I feel like you're getting close to being able to short this thing again. You're getting close to VWAP right now. If it wants to go, it could easily go right now. And so I think that, I'd still prefer the shorts. The SPY's only down 0.44 though. It's like, this is kind of like a run of the mill. We finally had that minus 2% day in the SPY last week. And it was 384 days or something since the last time that happened, or 379. I remember we were doing the recap show, and yeah, Brendo messaged me the date there, and it was just like, okay, so today downside move, and then bought right back up, and like bought at 538. So like, let's just go see here if that's an area, right? And so if you come back in, these could be the bottoms for the SPY for today. I'm not sure we're going to get so much movement here into the close, other than maybe a retracement back. Like, I don't...
Softy's actually moving a bit more after that news came in.
Really? Which way, though?
Up.
Up, right, okay, yeah. So, but the market's going, so I don't know. What since that news? That news was like a minute ago, though. Yeah, okay, I guess it's still right here. But yeah, so anyways, just back to the SPY just real quick. I don't know. I'd rather be hands-off on most of the major ETFs right now, especially if you're trying to position yourself in them. We don't know. We know that Jerome Powell, if they do keep them rates as expected, zeros, no cut tomorrow, no raise tomorrow, nothing, then we wait for the speech, right? And then after that, then there's the Q&A, and then we'll react. So I think today at this point, tomorrow at this point, we'll be looking much more at some of these indexes. I think for the rest of the day, this trend right here in the NASDAQ and in the SPY, if we zoom, is one not to really be denied. You're above the 200, you're above the 50-period moving average, which is really nice. So the last line of defense for SPY is right here at 454, 543. So I think if you break that 543, it was right here at noon, and it's right here right now again, protected by VWAP, which is volume weighted average price. So let's see, man. The bulls will want to get it above so they can say, hey, we bought down here and now it's above VWAP, so we're better than the average price anyways. And the bears will want to try to hold this underneath, right, to make sure that their shorts that they have all in here are still profitable on the day. So it'll be a battle into the end of the day. But what isn't a battle is Starbucks. I don't know. This name, we have the bottom of the day. there on Starbucks. We knew we wanted this name. It was a strong, the reason why we went over here, it's on my radar. I have like 20 or 30 names on the radar. Starbucks is one of them. Came in into the bottom of the day right there. I actually noticed it late. Like we had gotten back, we went out for a little bit of a walk, and it's like so warm out. I came back and was like, okay, let me see what's going on. Put on another trade, put some outs, first out 50 period, next out's 200 in VWAP. And then right now we come back and we're like, huh? That's a nice little mocha latte, frozen frappuccino, cold brew, matcha foam, whatever Ramin wants on there. A couple double pumps of this or that. That's the biggest runaround for Starbucks, man. It's like my kids go there and say, why does a pump of strawberry sugar cost 75 cents? Like, I don't know, but at the end of the day,
shareholders got to eat, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. We're happy with that one. Oh, we recently bought Starbucks at 72 and change. So far, so good on that swing trade. I'm going to talk about this with my guy, Raider Trader, on Friday.
Yeah, it would be fun to have him on the after show, get a little bit of action there. Look, the SPY, you already talked about one level. I'll give you just one more, maybe to watch for tomorrow when we don't get a rate cut.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen. But look, it's the same high every day in the SPY. Well, okay, not every day, but you can see the last like 4 sessions here.
Shorted more.
547, 547, 547, 547, 547. So I think tomorrow that you got to watch out for. I look at the big levels. Everyone looks at the big levels on a Fed day, whether they're raising or not. And if we come into that until it breaks, resistance is resistance. But it's, okay, so Microsoft's getting into VWAP in here. It's been grinding higher a little bit, but I wanted to go to another name, which we keep talking about the breadth of the move. So Pfizer has caught a bid. Pfizer was dumping like everything else. Then Pfizer kind of broke out. This is not a random price. 30.75 or 72 actually. Close price, resistance, breakout. Like a lot of times you'll see an obvious level, and then when it gets to that level, it breaks it out. Now, it's trying to break out the top as well, above 31.5. I think we want to look dips. First into here, like about 31, call it 31 change. I think you got to get into this level, maybe the quarters, or just down into 31 even. But if it just starts holding up here and it takes another leg, Pfizer has been a dog for, I'm not going to count months, but let's just say a really, really long time. And now it's breaking out of this channel. So here you are breaking out above 31, a bunch of lower highs, a couple of higher lows, and you're likely to close above this breakout channel. This is a name I want to favor the longs in, especially after this beat. So, if other things like the chips are going to the downside, sometimes you get a little bit of a, 3M kind of came out of a bottom like this. Now you're getting Pfizer getting some love. Let's go see what's going on in EV land.
Yeah. Last name on the board here, and it's the second worst performing Mag 7 name after NVIDIA. This is the headline over here, recalling, and I put that in air quotes for a reason, 1.8 million vehicles over concerns of an unlatched hood opening while driving. We all know that with Teslas, most of the recalls are basically over-the-air software updates. They're going to have to get that done, though. Still 4 1/5 in negative, guys. It tried to go a little bit there, but selling coming back in.
Just when we left, I said, there's some cheese going around here. There's always this cheese things happening around here. All right, so we just shorted AMD again right there at O's, 138, now 30 cents in the money. So, it continues to go. All right, Tesla, we talked about our only red stock today. It will be Tesla. And it kind of sucks because we were short. Like, we were long, and then we lost it, and then we were short. So, yeah, definitely a missed opportunity right there. 231, 232 was the trade. 231 is sort of where it started to drop out from. But that top right there, 232. So let's get ready here. 220 or so could be something to the downside right there for Tesla, all the way back down. It's not nice. We're coming up to the 200 period moving average. This could also be a short if you wanted to play a short. You have this guide right now. So, this is giving you an out. If you go short right now, I think Tesla out 223.37. So, yeah, man, we'll be, like I said, we'll be red on an idea today. And to me, that's really fine. We tried it. We liked it. It lost it. So now it's nothing but love for you, Tesla. And I still feel pretty good about selling some of that at 265. And I don't know where we're going to be buying this again. But honestly, this is not really one of the tech names that I'm super interested in. I think we've explained where I'm looking right now, and it's not to dip by Tesla.
It's not like, I mean, Tesla's chart hasn't been like the other ones in quite some time, right? Like it was different a couple of years ago, let's be real. But look, Tesla today, I like 2 levels for dip buys. Obviously, when it's trending down like this, it did work initially. If I had just taken the 230 and then that was it, didn't, try it at 226, it tried to go, the reload was no good. Now you're underneath all of that. I thought we'd wait for 15, 16, or well, it's more like 16 down here, and it closed, it went all the way down to this previous close at 220. This is just missing some of yesterday's data, but that 220 level was just a close 2 days ago. If we lose that, I think you're under some pressure here on Tesla. There was a question in the chat, why is Mullen going up? There was a headline yesterday, but I don't see any specific news on Mullen. If I had to guess, well, it held $1, and people are excited about the fact that it held $1. So therefore, Mullen is up today. I haven't seen any new news on Mullen just yet. So I want to get on that Pfizer bid. If we can catch a bit of a move here to the upside. Still, you're at VWAP right now. Actually, you're going to break VWAP on NVIDIA, which is now on the NASDAQ, which it always is. Hit enter too fast, and I'm on a New York stock. Oh, got some dark pool wicks on NVIDIA. It's right
here we go.
It's right at this VWAP. Seller just came in at 106.
Yeah, my bad. That was me. All right now we are short 106.20 right now. There it goes to the downside. I saw everybody in the chat. They're like, be careful, my guy. I'm like, I'm right here, man. I'm not putting on this much risk and not paying attention. So there it is, man. We just shorted again at VWAP. We know exactly who we are and exactly what we're doing. And that's a bang and a bang and a bang and a good idea. So here we go. Let's go to the downside right now. Here we go. A nice little 30, 40 cents here on AMD. And trust me, when this starts to go, this will start to go. So let's take one more piece out right now. And there it goes, man. We talked about this. Let's just start stacking and stacking and stacking. And I mean, that's what we're doing right now into the afternoon. We're at the highest spot we've been at all damn day right now. I was a little off kiltered being red there in the morning, but we came back, battled back, and there it goes. So today is, yes, sir, a big day, and thank you so much for that one, NVIDIA. We just shorted this right now. I mean, this is 50 cents right back in. And look, whatever, man. Like, I trade these names with just sometimes reckless abandon because I find the levels that I like, we put it on, and then we go. So, I mean, you know, it's been working out. When the strategies hit, and the levels hit, and then that's what it's all about, right? So, I mean, this is what we're doing. We're trying to put on here. We're trying to put on the diamond. We're doing it all, man. I mean, we're here to win every single day. I mean, that's the point. You know, and then when you're not winning, you try to minimize the damages, right? I mean, again, I don't think anybody talks the way I do, and I've already showed you. We talked about this. I opened up my P&L right there for Obi, and I showed him. You know, we had our worst day. We came back with our very best day, right again, back-to-back jacks. You know, it's like you got to be confident. You got to have what you have. And I already just said this already, that I thought that we were going to play off that short in the SPY right there. And I mean, that's exactly the trade. So, I mean, I don't, you know, by the way, I switched chairs. I put on this. Thank you very much.
I don't like those chairs.
Yeah, I switched over to the Herman Miller chair.
They're expensive chairs. I just don't find, for whatever reason, I don't find them better. It is what it is. We have a bunch of them around here. I remember when we considered getting those for our office. I'm glad we did.
They way too damn expensive.
No, when we opened our office, we got a bunch of chairs for free.
The problem is I hurt my tail money. So.
Oh, well, that's, yeah.
That was this, we didn't. Yeah, these guys got it for free. Yeah, when we had our office, we paid for them.
But there was a question in the chat. So JAG 3, we're not showing the FOMC. Like, I know there's a 2-day meeting for the Fed, but you know, Wednesday is obviously decision day when you're actually going to get the no rate change, and then you're going to get Powell answering the questions. You know, that's when we're going to be focused to the extent that it does anything tomorrow. So good question. No such thing as a bad question, but we will not be showing anything related to the FOMC. Tomorrow is going to be that day. You have a host of earnings to get to. So I'm only in one thing unless Pfizer decides it wants to give me a dip buy. But there's the wick. I like the last couple of times that I've been in NVIDIA, just quickly, so there's a resistance. It wicks it. Then I want to try to get short after the sellers come in underneath. And so did sort of the same thing, like getting it in on the other side of the trade. If it does it again, I'm going to try it one more time. But back over to, Microsoft in here didn't quite get to VWAP for a rejection. Close, but no cigar, and already putting in a lower high. So that's what we like to see. See that lower high, see the weakness come in. It was a steady grind higher. There was some kind of a story about Azure that didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, but the market was running in. Now a nice lower high there in SOFI. I know they report after market. I'm not hoping they go down, but I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on big cap tech to get it exactly right. I wanted to, and oh yeah, Tyler, I think we talk about this all the time. He said, thanks for the advice this morning on shorting pops and down trading names. I think that's something we should say every single day. If something is just going in one direction, short the pops, buy the dips. In a general sense, it doesn't always work. I'll give you an example of PayPal. Like PayPal, most of the morning was like, okay, it's going to go upside. Buy the dip. Okay, that worked. Try to buy the dip again, doesn't. It starts trending into the downside. But you know what? Eventually, it catches a bid, higher lows, higher low, scalp traded. Now it's trying to put in another higher low. In a general sense, if you can find a trend, observe the trend, and then try to get in when the getting is good to the best of your ability. You're not always going to be able to immediately determine in 20 minutes at the open whether a stock is trending up or down. But it's your best guess at all times. Sometimes it's an inside day. Like I didn't expect PayPal to be as much of an inside day as it was. It didn't end up trending. And other times, CrowdStrike just continues to dump like it has for most of the day.
All right. I feel, yeah, I mean, look at this AMD. I mean, the problem is I took, I told you about NVIDIA being one of the better stocks. So I was really hitting that one. It might have been AMD, not Apple. The other name that I was talking about was the top ones. But right there, 137.60, we missed that. Like that, we were too busy just cashing out of our out of our NVIDIA, to be honest with you, and I missed this trade. So we'll sit back here and see if we can get something else closer to the 50-period moving average for sure there in AMD. Let's hope that we can right into this area. So I'm now bidding AMD 137.70. Hopefully that will come in. I'm also bidding 137.47, which must have got missed here. So I don't know how that didn't fill. And then the other trade I was looking for was NVIDIA, which NVIDIA is now 40 cents in the money. I mean, again, just climbing up the ladder right here today. There goes NVIDIA. Did we just get that bid? Yes, we did. So there it is right there, 50 cents. It's like these trades, again, you got to just trade off something. And I mean, I've really learned the difference between going with the trend, going against the trend, and everything else. So, I mean, I don't, we've really adapted to a different kind of trading style. And I mean, you want to talk about a different kind of trading style. So, we talked about, Neil just mentioned there, it's hard to know what's going to happen, first things and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I agree. You got to find out which way the stock's going to go. But we wrote down Uber right here, right? This is 64.50 short sale breaking down. We wrote this here, 64.50 short sale breaking down here. Look for 63. So look for a $1.50 move today on Uber. Here's 64.50. Here's 62.60. There's our last out, which was a decent one at 63. So there's a $1.50 given to you at 8 o'clock in the morning before the market even opened. Stick with your game plan. Just when you're in a name and it doesn't work out, get out and then keep going. What's up, Juan Velasco? Damn, Daniel. I mean, this is just what it is. Thank you for continuously watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's just a big day. And I know that I'm always saying it's a big day because honestly, it's like, it's not necessarily because the net is just a function of share size. It's like you're never going to make money if you don't use a lot of shares. That's obvious. So you got to try to figure out what the best opportunities are to get your chips in, and I think you can equate it to poker or anything you want. It's like, when the opportunity's there, you have to put your chips in. Trading smaller amounts of shares are great for, traders that are trying to figure their way out. But once you've figured it out, then that's when you kind of want to go for it, right? And I just think that's the key to becoming that next level. We're losing traders left, right, and behind, left, right, and up and down. And I talked to Brankles about this. Traders that have been here for a while, you know, dig into such huge holes sometimes because they don't adapt and they don't get better. And they sit there and do the same strategies that they've been doing for, 10 years, 15 years, you know, and they don't work anymore. And you pile into these things and it's just like, boom, it whacks you. And it's like, this market that we've seen now is a completely, right now, different than it was a month ago, different than it was last week, and different than it's going to be next week. So you got to have this ability to continuously adapt, and you can't follow bigger shares into new ideas. You have to let these ideas sort of come to you. And a lot of that is through trial and error, using smaller shares. But once you find it, you have to go, you know? And I think that that's something that's very, very important. You have to adapt. Those of us that don't get run over in all facets of life. So that's just something that you have to stick with and make sure that you're always positive, and continue to have fun with what you're doing. And yeah, you know, stick with the trading strategies until they don't work. And make sure you hit the like and the subscribe. And yeah, we're definitely having a lot of fun today. Congratulations to both Adara and Sharif today with positive trading days. I mean, that's what it's all about. You want to put together a streak of good runs. And I feel like, you know, we're starting to do that. So let's see what happens here with the NASDAQ heading into the close. I'm just calling up Starbucks because I'm going to follow the same rules that got us to where we are. You know, and that's getting out here at 75.64, being a risk manager less than a trader, right? Brian Shannon mentions that all the time, and we mention it. We've been mentioning this since we started the show. Manage risk. And if you can manage risk, then the rest will happen. I just canceled my Starbucks out. You know where it was? 10 cents lower than where we took this trade. So that was where my stop was 10 cents lower than this. It's now 80, 90 cents in the money. So it's like, it's sometimes you got to put in the work to find the right solutions and the right answers. And I think we've done that. So thanks for watching, and keep coming back as we get lighter and lighter on some of these trades and wonder what's going to happen here the day before Fed.
Yeah, the day before Fed rate decision, obviously. Fed's on right now, obviously. But VWAP just got taken out and on mass there on NVIDIA. So I jumped out of it. I'll get to Pfizer in a quick little second there. But there was I like the quote where, like, you want to be like water filling the cup. One of the things, and just from my experience, a lot of traders, they don't have, like, in a poker table, you got to have multiple gears, which is always important. What kind of a table are you sitting at? Right? Like, you can be that guy that likes to raise everything. You raise deuce 7, you raise 4-5, you raise ace 8-10. You like playing in a bunch of hands. But if you're at the wrong table, you know, with a bunch of players that are excellent with pot odds and playing tight and knowing how to trap, you're just going to find yourself getting bled out. And there are times you want to play fast, times you want to play. So observe the market you're in. But we're in one now where NVIDIA seems to want to be above VWAP. So this might not be the one. If it holds back above 106, I'm out. If it gets back underneath, I might observe an opportunity to get back into the downside. But it's not the only chip name out there. I have eyes on two. One, Micron, which is, it's not having a good day either. Why Micron is standing out to me is if you get to 105, one of the things I like is support and resistance, previous support turning into resistance. That's already happened once at $105 on Micron. So just looking for that to happen again this afternoon, right at VWAP, is a simplistic setup for me. So 105, we're about 50 cents away from getting into that level, but that's starting to look a little bit good here on Micron. Of course, you got some earnings names after the bell. Not on the bit of PayPal, but we're starting to get back in on a dip in Pfizer. PayPal, I'm more looking at VWAP if it can get down there. But yeah, starting to come right back in. This is support level. The first support that I liked here on Pfizer kind of held the 30s. 20s was that last stop. If it breaks this, I think you might get down to evens or maybe VWAP. So I want to only give this to the 20 level there. And, oh, shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat, Jorge. Go Canada. Congratulations for swimming gold. Well, apparently we also won a silver in the rugby sevens as well. And shout out to all those that are enjoying the Olympics. I really just watch, like, swimming, gymnastics, and track, and whatever happens to be on in the moment. I can't wait for track and field to begin. That's where it's at for me. Canada will win a couple of medals there, but probably not going to run it like the States.
Yeah, we were watching that with my daughter because we are fans of Summer McIntosh. We've seen her in person. She's 17 years old, and she trains out of a pool right by our house. So shout out to that. She now lives in Florida, though, and trains out of there. So shout out to Summer McIntosh, 17-year-old gold medal winner in the 400 IM. I'm just saying all that because I'm practicing for my next gig, you know, where we'll be working for, like, you know, broadcasting. We'll be talking about sports and going over through all this, working for the Olympics and stuff like that. And so that should be a lot of fun as we get older here. I can't just keep trading forever, can I?
My dad was like, how long are you going to give it? And I remember it was like, you know, see how it works in a year. And then the 5 years. And then it just kind of worked out that way. It is what it is. I mean, everybody's going to be a little different. I've been on the floor for 20 years and on the floor, like the floor. You know, we've had our own floor, but it's been on the trading floor the entire time. And it's ups and downs and round and round. And after a while, you're like, okay, one slump out, one slump out. Like, it happens. Trust me, you're going to go into them. But have the ability to sort of know to not make it spiral. Because a lot of traders will put a lot of put capital into things that aren't working for them until they get something which is truly working. And patience is required to adjust to the markets at all times. Because those big times when the market's giving, like, meme days or Greek credit crunch weirdly was huge for us. 2008 obviously was ridiculous. When with the marijuana stocks a few years back, when those things happen, you just want to be there. You want to have a chip in a chair. You got to be at the table to take advantage of it. So Micron's starting to press into resistance as we get to that 105 level. We just got to 104 and a half-ish. Not quite there yet. And the other name that I'm keeping an eye on is looking for this bounce. It's like 3 or 4 times off VWAP here on PayPal. If it can do that and take out the top, maybe a run at the high of the day is going to be in play for PYPL. Zoila Gonzalez in the chat saying, Disney the only one great today. There's a lot of up stocks today. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of names. I know it's a down day in a general sense, but there were like a bunch of names that are actually looking good to the upside. Randy was talking about energy. Energy's having a good day, but Disney taking out the top as we speak. So yeah, we like trending stocks. I'm going to regret not buying this one at 88. Said last week that I was looking at it, just didn't pull the trigger on that. But that happens every now and then. Don't really see any opportunities here on Disney outside of, yeah, maybe you could join the trend. I don't want to be punching in the high when the futures are literally at resistance. You know, like Disney's at a top. Futures are at a top. No, I like a dip buy in that situation, not trying to buy the breakout when the market's at a tipping point.
We have a new position. We're just going to see what happens here with Texas Instruments. So we'll see right now. We're going to average it into 203. Let's just see if it wants to take that level out or not. You're starting to break a little bit higher. Texas Instruments does go positive today. So we're going to have to wait. We are short right now. We're short at the bids. We're short at 42s. That's where it is right now. Obviously, you have to look at the spread, 17 cents. You got to be careful. So I will use less shares on a Texas Instrument just because of the spread than I would on an NVIDIA or an AMD. We did get stopped out of our AMD trade right there, but that's because it broke VWAP, and we're completely fine with that. We, of course, are not stopped out of our NVIDIA trade as we had a little bit of a higher target there just because the way it moves. And again, we've looked at it, man. NVIDIA is my number 2 stock. So if I well, number 1 today and number 1 on the floor and blah, blah, blah. But as you go, you know, you got to trust it. That's why I did that work. And we talked about always making sure that you change up your game, right? And I think it's like, that's why I looked it up for the month. It's like, what stock is my number 1 stock? What stock is my number 2 stock? Which ones am I getting good reads on? You know, I haven't traded Amazon in a while. And now I know why. It's my worst stock. So, you know, you got to be able to go over and figure out what names you like to trade and where that money is, right? And so there's NVIDIA. We do have Starbucks now is $1. I mean, it's just trying to break through this high. I'm going to change my stop again. So my stop was at 60s. Now we can just move it up to 70s right there because that is where it should go, right? So, I mean, you're just looking here. Here's the 50-period moving average. Boom goes the dynamite. Let's see what happens here. 75.70. I mean, let's just put our stop. If it triggers, let's go. Well, 70, give it a little bit more love. Let's go to 64 right now. There it is. We'll put the offer out there. If it breaks lower, then we will get out of that one and then just move off of that. So, yeah, Texas Instruments coming back in a little bit. We could probably take, I was going to say, let's see what the bid is doing, but the bid needs to come back in. I do have a bid, though, at 202.22. So let's see if that comes back in a little bit right there, as we have the 50-period moving average is at 202. So if that comes in, I do. So I have a 202.01 bid and then a bid in the 20s to see if we can make that work out for us. So that's so far, what we're doing here. I have NVIDIA short, which we just took some profit, pretty good opportunity to do that at 95 or so, off of a short at 20. Let's see if it falls back in. If it takes this 106.50, we're out. The 106.50, we're out on NVIDIA as the NASDAQ's trending higher, right? I mean, to get to VWAP would be incredible. We had talked about that. The SPY already did and faded off of it. So we'll be able to see here if the NASDAQ can get going as well. But for right now, we're underneath 19,000. Let's see if that winds up holding. 19,000 on the NASDAQ is what we're looking for right now. Texas Instruments is 3 times the shares I have on Texas Instruments than I have on NVIDIA right now. So just letting you guys know, as I try to be as honest with you as possible by telling you what kind of month we're having, kind of day we're having, stocks, everything. Because like I said, when I was watching the show on Monday, I felt like that was the one thing that I felt like I wanted to do more of as an observer of the show, was to give you guys more information on how the day's going, how trading's going in general. So I think I already do a good job of it, but I'm going to try to do even better to improve for you guys. You know, we need these subscriptions. We need everything to get a little bit higher. We're really starting to stagnate with the amount of subscribers. So
yeah, I think it's all about, like keeping it real. Every individual decision. Like I like decisions. Like one of my favorite trading book isn't the trading book. It's Thinking in Bets, and Annie Duke only talks about evaluate the decision. Like if you don't have to make a decision at a point, then there's nothing to do. But when you get to that decision point, like your turn on the pod or you get to a key price level, what are you doing at that level? So, just like give you an example here with Pfizer, and I'll get to Micron, which we just jumped into. We're looking for the short. So Pfizer, upward trend, so I want to be long, right? General sense. Easy sort of thought there, it's going up, I want to go for the long. The first place I like it is in this 30 level, giving it to here. It breaks there, we get out, right? So that's the idea. When it was the same thing to the upside and it broke it out, we took a long break, scalping into this resistance area here from the open, and then holding it to the pre-market, like this pre-market top in here, like 31.40. It just happened to take the top and then pull back. But then there, we're going to take a hit on the way back in, anticipating if it loses this level, we look for that one, or that we look for that one back in, but not holding it all the way through. And then a similar story here on Micron. So Micron trying to get into VWAP, goes right into this lower high, 104.5, can't get to 105, starts to curl at that level, so we short that pop into previous resistance, make decision at 104. So it's an upward trending stock that gets to resistance and then look for that scalp trade into the downside. If it breaks this local high, I'm out. And then I'm waiting for VWAP to take another trade over there in MU. James Choi, I hope Microsoft does well. Just saying Microsoft will lift the tech market tomorrow. I think, it's good to have a bias. Sometimes you want to, especially during earnings season, try not to worry about what the earnings are. Play the price action, because it's so easy to say, oh, this beat, and it was good earnings, the stock should go up. But if it starts going down and you're like, the earnings were good, the market's not going to care that you think the earnings are good. Sometimes they're just going to sell it off no matter what, and you don't want to get wrapped up in that. I do know a trader, if he liked an earnings report and he owned the stock, he couldn't go short, and he would just go long, because he personally liked that stock. So be careful with that. Trading your own book is a dangerous thing in a general sense. But we're just in one name. I was looking at that Lumen as a small cap potential breakout. Volume starts to come into this. It's got a double top at VWAP at 265. And if you look at 265, it's right at that previous resistance on the daily and trying to punch back through. So if it can start to go, if it can get above VWAP, I haven't traded this today, but if it can get above VWAP and the volume comes back into this name, I do favor a potential breakout there. But we'll see what happens. I have my eyes on it. I'm going to keep it on the radar. LUMN. Early runner. It gave it up, holding a bit of a bottom, trying to break through VWAP. If it can get through, I'll be interested.
All right. I don't know. This is why trading, you really just compete with yourself and with the market, because there's Texas Instruments. We're now 50 cents. I mean, I mean, it's just starting to get to the downside right now. We just shorted this. We just talked about it. I mean, we wish we got more shares. I was waiting for more shares. I was waiting at 202.75. I mean, don't even, where is this? Where does this go to? That's, wow, that's 202.73. I wish I didn't even notice that. Anyways, nice downside move right now. About 60 cents in the money is Texas Instruments. I don't know, guys. Look what's happening, Neil, with NVIDIA.
You seem upset.
No, it's all of you. You know, we got out of Starbucks, which was a $1 winner right there. We just put on Texas Instruments, which is printing right there. You know, it's just not upset at all. It's like, if anything, like I said, it doesn't matter. Like, this is why we squashed the leaderboard. It doesn't matter, right? It's like, it's just, you got to sit here and put on, right? It's like trying to show these things and then sort of, you know, it's one thing when you're, you know, and we use analogies of like sports and things like that all the time. And I even heard Neil say like nothing, like this matches sports.
It's the closest thing without being sports.
Right, but the thing about sports is like when people are hitting bombs, you can see that. And I just want all of you guys to see what's happening. And it's making the calls, it's putting the trades on, and at the end of the day, it's being successful enough that, you know, we get you guys to not only subscribe, but hopefully change. And we always hear all the time. And that's why when I look over at Adair and everything like that, and I see that she's slowly becoming, you know, one of the better traders. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, that is what it is. We'll see what happens moving forward. But it's really nice to see that kind of stuff. The NASDAQ has pulled back 10% from all-time highs.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. We talked about NVIDIA being 35% from all-time highs. The NASDAQ will probably go into bear territory, which will be 20%. So do the math. I already talked about where we're buying the Qs. Not even close yet for me. But some of these individual names, yeah, we're buying them. You know, I mean, this NVIDIA. And again, it's different. Neil says this all the time. Different strokes for different folks. I know Neil was in NVIDIA and got out here, but then you moved to something else.
Well, it just, Micron was weaker to me. I got out of it.
Exactly. You moved to something else.
And actually, I look back. We're going to get to there in a quick second, guys. I want to acknowledge Hey Davis. Thank you for the gifted membership. So appreciate you, Hey Davis. We love and value our community a ton, and you guys contribute as much every single day. We don't say that enough. I see lots of great trade ideas. Or look at that stock and I wasn't paying attention to. It happens all the time, right? Like you never really know. Maybe Mullen was a great trade when someone brought it up. That happened once where I hadn't looked at a stock like Mullen and all of a sudden it was a great opportunity. But shout out to you, Hey Davis. And if you want to get the memberships, when you log into the chat, you have to enable gifts. And if you want to be in the chat and talk to us and ask questions and join the community in that fashion, make sure you hit that subscribe button because it is a subs only chat. So appreciate you, Hey Davis. Let's get on to Adair at the desk and take care of business.
If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
They're not really saying anything.
Yeah. Benzinga Pro. I mean, a perfect example of what we just talked about giving different trades. I mean, me and Neil are sitting right here, right? I mean, I heard him put on the Micron trade. He heard me put on the Texas Instruments trade. And it's just like we make our own decisions, you know? And that was another example there when we talked about NVIDIA. One person's looking at something else, someone's looking at something else. And it's like there's a lot of different things that we can choose to trade every single day. And that's why, I mean, I'm posting up on the stick. You know, we're going to have more about this to come later, but you know, so far so good on the sticky note today. And when you're wrong, you got to get the heck out of Dodge. I do not think there's anything more important than trading than risk managing. It has nothing to do with the mental game, has nothing to do with reading, has nothing to do with studying, has nothing to do with journaling, has nothing to do with anything like that. It's all about once you're sitting here trying to make money is that you have to have, first of all, you do have to have confidence, but you have to have your trade ideas, then you have to go for them. And I mean, that's what it's all about. Right? We'll have Obi back on here and let's talk to him. I mean, let's talk to some of these traders that do a lot of this stuff. And then you look down and at the end of the day, you have to hit the keys. You know, we talk about that. You could journal all you want. If you still make that wrong trade that next day, that will blow up in front of you. You know, we encourage everybody behind us to journal, to do this. They have meetings every single day. Still 5% make money. You know, this is what it is at some point with this job. You know, this is why I try to talk from the heart, and I try to tell everybody that, you know, some of these trades that we're putting on, it's like, you know, you got to sort of have that, sometimes that spidey sense a little bit about some of the trades. And when your spidey sense is off, you'll get run over. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And it's just like you got to play your good days with your bad days. Not only will I have, obviously, the highest P&L days, but also the lowest, well, that's not necessarily true, but also off sometimes the lowest P&L days on a day, right? And so you got to take all of that into consideration. It hasn't happened this month. It hasn't happened for a minute, but so far, so good here today as we really battle back. And I want to thank you to everybody, because you guys said it is tough sometimes to go from red to green. And when we did that, and you know, we're trying every day. But my whole day, really, if you add up everything, I've lost the same amount on Tesla that I've now officially made on, actually, I'm now up more on NVIDIA than I am on AMD. So my whole day then rests on AMD, which is a win, Amazon, which is a win, Starbucks, which is a win, Texas Instruments, we're now out of half of it, which is a win, and then Uber, come on, right there. So we cover up our lowest stock today with Tesla, net P&L wise, with our highest P&L, and they're almost neck and neck with what they are net wise. So, and then we just sort of add in all the rest, right? But I think that, again, everybody's trading style is a little different, and you just have to make sure that you either trade a lot of stock or trade a few stocks, but definitely make sure that you have the right ideas behind it. That Micron, you're in Micron, right? That Micron on the daily, by the way.
It's ugly. That's one of the reasons why.
I was looking at that trade.
So, look, obviously, I don't mind. VWAP retracements in the afternoon on weak stocks have been fantastic. There is no question about that. And anybody that watches this show in the afternoon, I think if you see that work on a consistent basis 7, 8 times out of 10 on a good stock that's moving that day, that does have a clear defined trend, there's no question about it that that's looking good. Now, why possibly hindsight's 2020? But the things that I like, CrowdStrike losing 250 is a big deal. That's part of the reason why it's probably so weak, in addition to the bad news. But look at what Micron's losing right now. I know we talk about other names, but Micron, this is a huge level of support at $105, which it took out. Like, you go all the way back to 2020, April of 2024, and then right back into, what is that? Like, that's May, like the month before, March, sorry. Double bottom, 105, and then the rally to 150. It's giving it all back, bleeding like nobody's business. And now you're underneath that, and it comes right back into under VWAP, under that same price. So yeah, that's a significant price level. There's sellers underneath 105 on Micron. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity. So you can go to the stock late. You don't have to, you can miss that trade and cry about it. I do that all the time. Like, I cried for days about, I missed that ARM dip buy in my personal account. But the next thing I thought about is, where am I going to buy this stock again? And we'll see what happens after their earnings. I'm looking to buy it after earnings. But Micron bleeding under 105, and that's trouble, I think. NVAX, just very quickly, NVAX is another name that I have eyeballs on, but I don't know. Like Sean just said, spider sense.
Don't be quick.
It feels like it could be a trap. It's already bounced once. It's down 30%, but it SSR bounced once off this exact level at 75s and couldn't get past 1225. These are really shallow bounces for a stock that's down this much. Usually, when something is giving you buyers and it's down a lot, you're going to get a real press to the upside. And it's been struggling, NVAX. So I don't wonder if it has to run some stops, break that low, actually test maybe $11.50, and then go. I know for sure a continuation play tomorrow. I'm going to be on this stock, but yeah, I'm not liking it at the price I bought it before. Usually it'd be an automatic go zone for me, but I'm just not feeling it here on Novavax. And that's a trade that I think has worked pretty well, especially during earnings season. You find a stock that is super depressed, down 10, 20, 30%. It gets to a key price level, look for a scalp bounce, try to risk 5, 10 cents to make 20 or 30 or more. As long as the risk to reward is good, I think you can be absolutely fine. Some buying stepping into 103.80 here on Micron, if we get a reload, it's going to be at that, in and around that $0.50 for sure here. So let us know what you guys are looking at. I have eyeballs in that Lumen stock, but it's still not breaking out. Right? It's at the same high, no breakout. No breakout, no trade.
All right. Thank you so much, Hey Davis, for that. Yeah, I mean, people, you just got to subscribe. You got to get into the chat. You got to subscribe, or you can get a membership for $5. Just help support the show here. Look, one of the original. I know there's some names that get stocks that get called names, obviously on the midday show. But the original one we have here, Donkey Kong, was DraftKings. Then we had Microsoft, which was Mr. Softy. I don't know if there's any names that you used to call stocks. But Donkey Kong right here, DraftKings. You know, they're going to come reporting August 1st. That's couple days. And oops, I was looking at it on another chart. So let me call it up right here. I mean, look at this name. This is a name that I had said that we'd sort of potentially, come on, Texas Sisters. I'm bidding here 85s. Did we get filled yet? Not yet. Okay, so let's wait to see if that comes through. We need a downside push on Texas Instruments. But what I want to talk about here was DraftKings really quickly. I mean, look at the area that we're at right now heading into earnings. Underneath the 50 period, underneath the 200 period moving average, and not look like this is a name here that I wonder about it possibly getting pretty clocked into earnings. You know, if some of the consumers running dry a little bit right now, you know, there's definitely not those like sort of COVID payments coming through anymore. Gambling is a losing proposition, just like day trading. You have to make sure, right, that you know, you watch out for your stock. DraftKings right now, I'm not in this name. I'd gotten out. I got out actually at these levels. I did not have this. I thought DraftKings was an amazing buy, and it was basing down here at $14 or $15. And we had talked about it then. We wanted to get, you know, first. Oh, Texas Instruments just filled there for 70 cents. So that is another one. Another one. It's not $1. Get out of there, dollar. Let's go hot dog cannon. But anyways, DraftKings, I just want to say August 1st coming a little quicker than we thought in 2 days. So watch out there for DraftKings. I could see this one being missed just a little bit. I don't know. We'll see a lot of these tech names starting to go to the downside. And DraftKings right here with just a 5% short float. So it's not like the huge short float is going to create this thing to pop back up. So get ready.
It doesn't hurt.
1 point. Yeah, that's great.
It doesn't hurt when they start going. I'll tell you that.
Estimated quarterly EPS growth minus 32.71. Okay, I don't know about that, but right there, minus $6. I mean, what are these guys doing? How much is their acquisition cost? We're going to find that all out. The more expensive they get, the more expensive they get. And we're just sitting here, by the way.
I like a business where, like, you're the house. I like the house.
Right, that's why I said day trading is a losing proposition. Every single time you enter a trade, they're taking that commission off of you. They're running stops. They're doing all of that. But that's why you have to be specific with your entries and your exits. And I mean, look at this NVIDIA. Like, again, no joke. This is since we've been back on. You know, now there it is, man. We have 70 cents in the money on Texas Instruments and $1.40 in the money on NVIDIA. And again, today, not the easiest day, man. 5 positive traders, Neil, myself, Adara, and Sharif. And that's that, right? It looks like Jose. So there we go. So some nice days there, but little rough. We'll see what's going on now moving forward. So NVIDIA, 105 and still going to the downside. Texas Instruments, we're now out of 2/3 of this. So let's wait to see what happens here. At Texas Instruments, we did get that 201.85. So yeah, hopefully the market will come back in and we'll see what happens. We'll probably hold these into the close. Power hour is now upon us. Roblox holding up fine.
So
I don't know.
I just noticed something on Mullen. So in this, again, I wasn't even looking at this stock until today. Did you realize how many, most people probably wouldn't realize how many down days it's had in a row. And I'm not even going to bother counting it. But this is one of the worst, look, it's one of the worst companies from top to bottom, or stocks in the history of the market. CEI is near the top of the list in terms of like how much things have bled from the top. Look at every single day this has come down. Now, if you happen to catch a stock when it has its first green day after doing this, yeah, that's a good look and probably worth it tomorrow. It's 24% short float. Not that that matters, but this is starting to go. Worthy of a day 2 look. We had this for the lesson of the day. Like, look at some things that were day 2 plays. I'm going to kick myself because Adair and I were going nuts about Dexcom, right? Like anyone that remembers in the aftermarket showed DXCM that was down like 40% after its earnings. And then what did it proceed to do? on day 2. So day 1, it just tanked all day. On day 2, it double bottomed and broke out. And it was short sell restricted, and that should have been one. I like SSR plays. I didn't trade this one, so I still have to fail on myself for that. Only reason I didn't trade it is because it's a stock I didn't even know who the company was, to be honest with you. It turns out that they do like diabetes diagnosis.
Yeah, I know who they are.
Which is like really, that's at the time, well, after the earnings, it's a fantastic, look, it's fantastic, the technology. When you think of the GLP and some of the solutions that are coming that way, probably under pressure, but it doesn't really matter. It just bounced off the same low and broke out. Like, look at that, bounced off the same low in the pre-market and then broke at a very clean top once it went to green. So it closed here, consolidated, and then broke out that top and just simply rallied $4. Textbook SSR bounce play on day 2. That's why the lesson of the day was look at day 2 play. So Mullen, I think it's worth it. We'll take a shot at it. Lumen defying any opportunity to go higher. So I have a breakout if that can get above VWAP, but I might cancel it if it doesn't start to pick up some volume. Looking for this to break down here on Micron as a next opportunity to set downside and maybe find something else that might be moving to the upside. I thought Lumen was a good chance for a breakout to the top, just not seeing it. And I do have my eyes on something here for Disney. Just a little possible trend break. So since it got above VWAP, it's been observing the same trend gliding to the upside. So like here, like the same higher low, wicking it, holding, hasn't broken out the top. If the market does end up flushing, you get like a little bit of a late break. Look for like a breakdown, pull back into VWAP kind of idea. So every now and then I do like those mean reversion trades. If it can't take the top, if this thing is breaking out the top again, forget it. No, don't want it. But if it's holding the top and breaking the trend, yeah, I like a little swing at it. And that's a specific style of setup for a stock that is going strong to the upside, like Disney is. And I still have to check out Deadpool and Wolverine. Looks fantastic. I love Deadpool. Fabian says, am I going to watch it? The answer is yes, but the next time I go to the theater, I'm going to be real about this. I'm probably going to end up watching, it's a, Despicable Me.
No, Inside Out 2 is part.
Inside Out 2, okay, fine. We're one of those two. My daughter wants to watch one of those two. I'm not sneaking out of the theater, Remain, and going to watch something else. If I go to the movies with my daughter, I'm hanging out with her. Yeah, or we'll do a date night with my daughter. Yeah, I'm not going to go with my daughter and sneak out. Who does that? Come on.
I was saying go without your daughter and watch Deadpool.
Yeah, but my wife is like, she kind of likes Deadpool.
Yeah.
I don't think she's like over the top about it. So.
Man, okay. I've never seen Deadpool, so.
Not even the first one?
No.
I think you like it. I think you would.
I'm getting closer to The Bear. The Bear is season 3, episode 2 or 3 or something like that. So that's been so far so good.
Everyone keeps telling me to watch that.
I cannot wait till I can unsubscribe from Disney. But again, it's like, oh my God, we just subscribed back again. You can hit fail all you want. I mean, there's nothing on Disney. I don't know what to tell you guys, honestly.
It's for kids.
I mean, exactly.
It's for Star Wars fans.
But the Star Wars,
kids.
what's been good on Star Wars recently? I don't know.
Okay,
I don't hear anything.
No, I'll keep it as real as possible.
Yeah.
I'm watching The Acolyte, and I'm dedicated to.
That?
I'm trying to finish it. I really am.
Right, exactly.
And it stinks. But I watch everything.
And you're a fan. This is why. I mean, why am I getting shade thrown at me for like fans of Star Wars don't like the content? I don't know. Anyway, okay.
They're trying.
And look, as a shareholder in Disney, I mean, I'm great that I subscribe to it again, but I mean, I'm just throwing money away, I feel like. But anyways, the kids like it. And yeah, that's that. All right, let's check out Palantir. We'll check out another name. I was looking at Texas Instruments. We're already at 2/3. We told you that. Let's see if it goes. NVIDIA is really cranking. We bought some more NVIDIA at lunchtime in and around this area, I believe. Yeah, well, probably a little bit lower, but definitely wasn't down at 103. We're in here somewhere. So I feel like it's not even worth discussing, but I think this might be worth something to look at that. Again, I just feel like coming out to, do we have the earnings board? Let's throw the earnings board up. We have 50 more minutes left. With Microsoft coming and some of the other AI names later on this week, I just wonder if Microsoft sort of sings a good tune here today. What will, NVIDIA could catch some of that drift back up to the upside. I'm just getting into these names. Again, I told you the other day.
Oh, no.
This is the thing. Remember I told you about dollar cost averaging into the NASDAQ and why I don't do that and into stocks? It's like I look down and we all have these stories, right? I mean, I have a lot of stocks that go to zero and the NASDAQ isn't going to zero. So it works on both ways. But I had a 650% gain there on NVIDIA. I mean, you had to buy the NASDAQ almost, 30 years ago, maybe to be up 600%. You just buy NVIDIA last year. or 2 years ago to get that kind of return. So you gotta sort of have a balanced portfolio. There's no doubt about that. No, not financial advice. Let's go back to that board here and see what's earning and see what we can, what's reporting and see if there's a play on here that potentially we like. Why do I always, what is up with EA Sports? Like, I thought they were gone.
Not much.
The stock still exists. Did that buyout not happen or what? Like, I don't know what happened there. Do you know what happened?
I was completely convinced that there would be, who did I say that? It was Sharif. When the Activision deal happened, I turned, when they finally closed, because it took forever, I turned to Sharif and I go, man, there's going to be a bunch of consolidation in gaming because they're going to have to try to compete. And then there just wasn't any.
Yeah, and now EA Sports is huge. It's $150 bucks. It's still ripping up. So I think that'll be good. What else is on there? Microsoft. So Starbucks, we know that. Live Nation.
If Lemonade
AMD.
tanks, that's an SSR play.
So that was, my bad. It was AMD. So that was the sort of part of the reason there. Let's see if AMD can put up a number. I mean, and then we'll see. Like, buying NVIDIA today is really not like a great idea for a swing trade, because I feel like if you're looking at that board right there with Microsoft, with AMD, and then coming out later on this week, Amazon and Apple and all of these names,
ARM.
It's like ARM. Yeah, I mean, ARM's just in everything, but yeah, you're right about ARM. We had, see, the thing is that we had ON Semi come yesterday, or 2 days ago, was up 11%. So there are possibilities to come through, but Taiwan Semi was not great. ASML, AMAT, there's been a lot of sort of falling down. Let's just see if some of the big guys right now can actually come up with some numbers, right? And if they can do that, then I feel like we could be.
Oh, speaking of which, I did buy some ASML for the finally.
Oh, ASML, yeah.
ASML bounced off the 200-period moving average, and I kept saying I was going to put some money back into chip names, which I just have not done. And I haven't bought any NVIDIA in this dip. I haven't bought any AMD in this. It's just so I was like, yeah, let's do that one. But like, Lemonade is here, and I keep saying short float names can be catalyst. Let me just pull it up.
ASML is also in bear territory.
It is in bear territory. Like it's, and they're like, you cannot make advanced chips without their advanced lithography machine. You can't. So they're not going anywhere. They're going to be in some trouble when it comes to China, but they're not going anywhere. Lemonade, 32% short float, and it's got some serious, it's got potential. Let's just, potential, but all things, if it doesn't break 26, it's probably going to stink. I don't know. Like, I don't care what the earnings are. With a 33% short flow, if it can get past $26, yippee-ki-yay, or whatever he says in that movie, one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. So I have my eyeballs on Lemonade, and we never look at or talk about this stock unless meme names are going or they report earnings. Ideally, it would break out. If it dips, then maybe there's an SSR bounce play. But you anticipate these things too much. If it doesn't happen, like, I'm not going long unless it breaks out that top or we get some kind of a key bottom in there. No, I wanted to go to. I just typed AMD when I meant to go to Micron again. It's so weird.
Yeah, how is that Micron working out? The market's tanking here.
It's about to flat bottom break, and when it does, you'll see this. So a flat bottom break doesn't have to be like 5 points on a daily chart. It's just any level of consolidation, right? And it should be, ideally, it should be obvious when it's at a level of consolidation. And then if it breaks down from there, you're looking for two things. You can be a cover spot, false break, you get out. It could be a spot to add, which I think it's a spot to add here if it breaks down, because I think you get down into the 132.5. And if I add here, I stop there instead of there. So that's the idea. It's trying to go. It's just, taking its time for now. Yeah, that's right, Freddie the Friendly Guy. McLean, like everything else, they made one too many of those movies.
Yeah, although they had after two is fine.
No, they had the one with Samuel. It had some moments in it. There was some scenes that I liked about it. Like when he has to wear the sign in the hood, I thought that was freaking hilarious. Yeah. But I find stuff like that funny. Yeah, you seen the third one?
The third one, probably. But I mean, it's always one or two is always the ones on TV. So probably watch three. But I don't have the memory that you do. So, all right. So right there, I just want to say, just because Neil was talking about ASML, because I just looked at the chart for the first time. That's why I was like. So this is at the 200 period right now. Obviously, it's down from 1,100 down to 850 or 860. So, and I just want to show everybody a couple things. So first of all, Neil chose Micron, great trade there. We're now $2 in the money on NVIDIA. So again, same price stock, NVIDIA and Micron, one moving like 4 times quicker. So you got to watch all of these out, right? Texas Instruments now coming back in as well. The reason why I call this up is because, like I know I bought some more NVIDIA today. But you want to talk about a stock that's not even anywhere near its 200. Like, remember what? That's what I was talking about like buying a stock last year, $41 going to 140. Like, this has a lot of air up here. It could pull all the way back. There's some names in the chip space that are at the 200 period, if not below. And NVIDIA is like, nah, man, we're cool. Shout out to Gunjan in the chat because right there, you mentioned that AMD was now negative for the year. Isn't that sad? It is negative for the year.
Wow,
you went from 130 all the way up to 230, basically. I mean, I think it was 227 high, and then now down $100 from its top, going red for the year. So year of AI, right? Year of innovation, year of stock picking. And Neil mentioned about we're going through, you know, you're here for some of the greatest times. I feel like this is one of the greatest 6 months, 7 months to trade that I've been a part of in 24 years. AMD, and then we talked about NVIDIA, where it's not even anywhere close on the daily to being anywhere near any of these names. Neil's on Micron right now, so that was another one that is at the 200 period moving average as well right here. So it's like, you might think that this is a big drawdown for NVIDIA. It's not. So get ready to rock and roll.
Look at SMCI.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at them all.
$664 SMCI is at right now.
What I want to look at was MSTR.
No,
it's not that bad.
It's actually, no, because Bitcoin's been having that rally. But
yeah, I just want to see how far it was down. It's not even, yeah, that's
no, I wanted to get to, the reason I was mentioning super load. There we go. So I've been, like, you look at this one, like this one is gonna, I don't swing trade short. I go long my personal account. And this is, I wish I could go back in time. And when this broke the channel to the downside, like, look at this. It's a very clean channel since this earnings bottom right here in April. Whatever. The trend line was there a second ago and now it's disappeared. But when it broke it, right down into the 200 period moving average, just consolidated and then flopped right into $650. The way I see it is like, I'm only buying stock that I wanted it, I like it, I want to hold it for 5 or 10 years. And that's where, to me, you get it. If you love SMCI, then, you know, it's usually a pretty decent spot. But yeah, these are starting to get a little bit nasty. That was $1,200. And that's not at the beginning of the year. It was actually in March. Like in January, this is now, this isn't going to go, well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. This is very, very unlikely to go red. Anything is possible, but it's still a double up from January. But it's pulled back $550 from the top, almost cut in half. Think about that for a second. It's still almost a double up, even though it's been almost cut in half, because that's what SMCI was doing. So it's not just, we always talk about NVIDIA. SMCI is a pretty impressive name in its own right, but not looking very good at all. So we did add on that flat bottom breakdown. Now out of the shares from 104 change, it was actually 30 in front of the quarters, and now we're short at this breakdown here. When it broke the 70s, we got short. Maybe look to add if it plays the same level again, and then back into 103. I've canceled that LUMN breakout trade. It got right to VWAP and then said nope and pulled back, volume light, nothing doing. If it's not going to break it out, then I'm not interested in this one. It's only 20 minutes till the imbalances come out. If a low float runner is going to make its move, by now it usually would have. I don't mind jumping back to it if it's like 330, but at 340, 350, I'll definitely stop keeping this one up. But the breakout order is not in. I don't want to be staring at this thing, which is not going anywhere. The market, seeming like it wants to pull back, going to look for some other things to short the pops. And Disney, very specific thing I was looking for. Don't break the high, break the trend back down. It broke the high, so I don't short it. Simple.
I was just looking at my stop order here, and it's funny because we talked about this when it happened. Like, we are pennies away from getting stopped out of NVIDIA here. You know, so we talk about, like, you know, having the trade on and trading this and trading that. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to need a little bit of luck too. This stock just absolutely tanked right there. Well, we knew we wanted the short. So, I mean, first things first, be the right way. But at the end of the day, you're still like, mother market is your boss. And I mean, that's something where we were very, very close, like within pennies, like 5 or 6 pennies from getting shut down. So we are short right now, not shut down, just close the trade. Anyways. Stopped out. 106, I was just going to say, we're never really near our shutdown, but 106.50 right there was close. And I was just going to say, it's 30 cents worth of a risk there for that trade, which is now in the money at $1.70. So 30 cents worth of risk for $1.70, and we still have about 15% left. I mean, I'm trying to do better on holding more, but so far it's all good. But that was, the reason why I'm talking about this is I'm gonna stop out if it breaks 105. I mean, not only is that the 200 period moving average, generally speaking, I will use these levels as either shorting into it. The best trade for me, you know, I don't know, man, maybe, I have no damn time, but if I ever did time, I was thinking about writing like a little book or something like that, like a trading manifesto or something, because this for me is one of the better plays. And it's just coming back up into VWAP off of a huge flush into a still relatively red name. We talked about that. I'm trying to implement it with earnings and stuff like that to see how that all plays. But I really like this trade, so that's a good. I mean, I like it so much. This is what we were doing to get into it. We were like willing to take it early, and it did break VWAP there. We did talk about that, but I don't. You know, you gotta and like me and Neil has just talked about, right, you know, in all honesty in the show, got stopped out. Neil got stopped out, looked for a better opportunity, hit it with Micron, made more money on Micron than lost on the stop out, I assume. So that's what's right.
You know what I'm mad about?
What it's risk management, right? I mean, anyways, just real quick, I just want to, yeah, as a trader, you're always mad at something, I feel like. And that's why I posted that in the chat on my Twitter. It's like, I'm not trying to get mad anymore. But right here, I do want to get out at 105. So I'm just going to follow my own rules here, get out if it breaks through 105. So if you wanted to follow me, this is what I do. One, we have an order here where you can choose. I don't know if you can see this, probably not. It says flatten position 100%. So you can change this to, it's not that creative. Like, it'd be nice if it was every 10%, something like that. Like, flatten out 90%,
I think I asked,
80%.
like, why don't we have, for a ticket, it's like,
why don't we do that?
Why isn't it 10,
So
15,
let's just
20,
do that.
25?
Let's put
no,
in
I'm
a
pretty
ticket.
sure I already asked Wayne. I think we did one.
Wayne, no, I'm going right to the top. I'm going right.
Oh, I haven't put the tickets in for me.
I'm not even putting a ticket. I'm just going to mention.
So if you guys just, while Sean does it, just so you know, when we say put in a ticket, there's like Real Trading has trading offices all over the place. So they have a system.
And this chick.
The platform P Pro 8 is built for traders by traders. If you want a feature in it, you ask your trading floor manager, or a trading floor manager goes into the back office system and puts in a request. They go over them, and the good ones, the popular ones, try to get implemented. And so I think it makes some sense. It's a cool key, but it's like 25, 50, 75%, 100. The other thing that would be cool is you can't put out multiple. I would love to be able to have I want to stop out this level 50%, and then at the next level up, if I so decide, I want 100% at that level. So I can
Remember, they do have those bracket orders.
I know, there are bracket orders in there. I will perfectly admit that, you know, I like it to be a little more simple. You can use bracket orders in that fashion as well, but I wanted to quickly say something about SOFI, because I'm gonna slap a fail on myself. SOFI, for whatever reason, I think I was only interested in if it was breaking out and going 10%. And when it didn't, there was a very obvious short trade in SOFI. And look at this is $8, $8, $8 rejection, $8 rejection. Any guesses when it wasn't doing anything today, what it tried to do? Yeah, so it was doing nothing in the pre-market after earnings, up only a couple of points. It tried to run $8. And then it just spent the entire morning retracing right into noon. And it gave you, here's the thing, whether you get $8, who cares? You could have shorted it at VWAP on the way back in. Bounce, short at VWAP. Then it just trends right down from 755 to 710. And if 755 to 710 on a VWAP retracement trade isn't any good for a day trader, then don't day trade. And it's done 77 million shares of volume. And so SOFI, I think it was a disappointment name. But you could take that disappointment and just short that crap when everyone thinks it's about to run. You can go either direction for sure. That would make a lot of sense. Mr. Long Shorts, add the halt bar to the stock window. That's a good suggestion. I think you mean the halt bands, I would assume. Right? So when stocks go past a certain point, X% in X amount of time, depending on the price of the stock, it's different for penny stocks than it is for like $100 stocks. And then you would show like the halt bands when something is moving. That can be useful. When something's going into a halt, it's usually pretty easy for us to see. But every now and then, the problem with that is every now and then I've seen stocks go to the level, they should be halting, and then for whatever reason they don't, and then it goes the other direction, that same amount, hits the band, and goes into a halt. Yeah. Explain that one to me, NASDAQ.
We need to get halt bands on our system.
No, I 100% agree. They used to have, remember the liquidity liquidity replenishment points. There used to be a thing called the LP, what was that, LPP or whatever. Oh, LRP, right? So essentially what it meant was if a stock moved too far, instead of a halt band, they had these places where like designated market makers were obliged to start making a quote. That was pretty valuable. They don't do it anymore, but like that was pretty valuable back in the day because they didn't have the halt bands at that point. Like on individual stocks, this is where the market maker might step in. And if you saw it bounce off that level, give it a little join, and it would be a good one.
I'm starting to feel some kind of ways. So, and the thing is, I don't know, maybe there's a rally coming here into the end of the day. I don't know. Let's just wait to see.
is trying to go.
Yeah, like we still have Microsoft. We know there's a lot of love for
Disney's
that name.
flying.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for Disney, of course, with all that great content over there. We just sort of talked about that.
What else they have? They got a.
Don't think too hard about what else they have.
Yeah,
Okay, so there it is. We'll punch a little bit out here at 08s or 10s. I think we got 10s there on the punch out. So we'll take another level here on Texas Instruments. Oh, there, we're out. All right, so we got double filled. We got some O's, and I forgot to cancel it. So there it goes. Now it's to the downside in Texas Instruments. Because we missed that, let me see if we can take a little bit more. There we go. We punch. Okay, you might have just saw that. We punched 88s there. Where is it? All into here. So now you're going to have to wait to see what happens as we do. We ran right into a dark pool there. That's never a good sign. So I am supposed to be short up here. I got double filled there. I forgot to cancel the other one, so I wanted to hold a little bit short. So I just punching back into the short. So let's wait to now see where Texas Instrument goes. I was going to adjust the stop into this wick area, so 202.30. So let's just do this right now. That is a reload, punched into a dark pool. That's never a good thing, but that's okay. Let's just see. There it is. There's this 88 again. So let's see if it goes down. I have enough shares now.
Crazy 88.
Yeah, I like that game. Crazy Eights.
Oh, I was thinking about the from
Japanese.
Kill Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The Japanese. They're those. That's the group, aren't they? Called the Crazy 88s there.
Yeah, I think so.
Can't wait till my kids are old enough to watch that. That's pretty. Oh yeah. There it is. Yeah, I gotta start defending myself. Where are these guys?
What, Bear, how old you got to be to watch that?
I have a 12 and a 9.
12 years old. You can watch Kill Bill.
You know what we watched with them the other day? Under
Kill
Paris. We watched with them there. It's okay. It's a pretty fun movie about where the sharks.
I'm dying. The fact that they put out that Under Paris movie right before they actually have to do a triathlon. If you've never seen it, there's a big shark in the Seine. Spoiler alert.
There's multiple sharks.
Spoiler alert, shark kills people. Like, that's how these movies work. But now they're actually doing the triathlon, and the Seine is so nasty that they had to, I think there was like a training session they had to call. Dude, the Seine is, it's a little bit.
They just had all that crazy rain, too.
It's dirty, and they had all that rain, so like the athletes are like, we can't be in that water. It's disgusting. But I love the Olympics. But that movie was entertaining. I love a good horror / film. It's better than a horror stock, right? Like, I'd rather watch a film or like enjoy a roller coaster. Like, I love that kind of stuff where I can be thrilled and it's exciting and you don't have to worry about it, right? Like, it's not like sitting there buying the dip in Silvergate or something.
I don't know, man. I went to Wonderland.
That's a scare you don't need. Like, to me, buying a dip in Silvergate would be the same thing as jumping out of an airplane. I can simulate that thrill without any risk or with almost no risk. I only say SI because, no word of a lie, I owned Silvergate shares. I sold a bunch near the top, actually like 40% from the high, but I thought it was a good return. Held on to 10% like an idiot. And I was bag holding that 10%. I was like, why am I even in this? Sold it, put it into Coinbase. A couple of months later, Silvergate didn't exist anymore. Do not bag hold just because you have a small amount of shares in a position. It's nonsensical, especially when you could just put that small amount. You do it once, you do it twice, you do it 3 times. That small amount, add it up and buy something good. And hold it for 10 years, and you see what actually ends up happening to you. It does matter. Like Chipotle, for example, up 3% today. Go Chipotle. I didn't buy this one. I said I was going to, and it didn't give me 50.
Yeah,
I actually had the bid today. I was gonna, if it came back into 50, I was gonna buy this stock.
Yeah, that stock's up nicely. We also have that Kava you could start to buy there as well.
I like Chipotle.
There's going to be a lot, man. There's going to be a lot. We were able to do really well. I mean, this is the other thing about getting out, right? We talk about, and I went on that little rant again, like, welcome to the club, but I was talking about risk management being the most important. I think that's true because, like, you can make these calls down here and grab it and everything is all groovy. But then, like, if you hold it, like Neil was just mentioning, that's what made me think about it with the Silvergate example. It's like, it's the same thing for trading. It's like, if I just hold this all the way back down, then you can't enjoy the fruits of the labor. Like, it took me a minute to get this trade. And you don't have, I only have like I said, today I said we'd have 5 or 6 different trades. We don't have that many different ones. We just shorted NVIDIA was a good one. We shorted AMD once today, which has been fine. I mean, it's twice, but it's the same kind of trade at the same level there. So that's kind of how I judge that. And it's just like looking at these kind of trades, you got to be specific. Like this was one trade. As now it's starting to come back down. We should still be in it from all the way up here, but we talked about why we missed that one on Texas Instruments. So this one's coming back in. So this should be now almost $1 in the money as that comes back in as well. The Tesla trade, we're in and out. The Uber trade is one trade as well. That's that sort of that sticky note trade that we talked about, 64.50 to the downside. Amazon, it's funny that we're still up. It's not funny we're up on this name because, we like that. But this, again, talk about thinking about reversing it. This 183 break. So we bought Amazon long into the pre-market low, and then it broke it, and we got out, which thankfully saved us about $4 or $5 to the downside. So it's like have that risk plan always in the back of your mind because it's like the one day that you take a 20% drawdown or something on your account, it's going to completely mentally ruin you and then also like damage your account obviously and set you back. So all those good days that you've had become squashed a little bit by a couple bad decisions. We don't have too many bad decisions, right? Oh my. So see, this is another example. Have the confidence in the Kool-Aid guy. Oh my, is that what he says when he breaks through?
No,
what does he say?
Oh, Sulu. I was doing Sulu. The guy from Star Trek. Oh my.
No, man, I don't know anybody from Star Trek. But there you go. There's the move to the downside right there. So there it goes, right? We accidentally got overfilled and got back in. So look at that, man. We call basically the top of Texas Instruments right into the 200 period again. So here it's going even lower, baby. $1.70 in the money on NVIDIA. Now $1. I mean, I'll hit the dollar club. $1 club on Texas Instruments. So far today, what we've showed you, the trades that we've taken on here in the afternoon. Texas Instruments is $1. AMD, we did get stopped out. That's actually not doing anything. I'm actually happy not happy, but that one's fine. And then NVIDIA right now, $2 in the money. But everybody, they like us. We're fine. But it's Adara over at the screen that is going to talk about, I'm going to go with Sector Watch.
Go Energy.
Pretty much, we're going to take a look at some outsized moves here in the S&P 500. Some names making larger moves that maybe we haven't discussed or discussed as much. And today we're going to take a look at some of the reactions to earnings plays, starting with Procter & Gamble here. This went down in the day, but trying to recover a little bit. They beat earnings per share and missed for sales in the lower ends of their fiscal 2024 EPS and revenue estimates came in below expectations. So slightly lower than expected estimates and a sales miss sending PG to the downside. Merck is up next year. This went down almost 10% on the day. They did have a lower than expected here adjusted EPS guidance for 2024 and also had a one-time charge for 77 cents per share for some of its acquisitions. So MRK heading to the downside despite a beat across the board. Last but not least, we have this name up here. This is Howmet, HWM. They had earnings, positive earnings here and also higher than expected expectations. HWM currently chopping and churning, but up about 12% on the day, guys.
Howmet. I've never, that's an interesting name. Yeah, aerospace name. The chart of HWM, and again, I don't know this company, it has one of the best looking charts of a thing I've never heard of in quite some time. I just I'll give Mike in a second, but this is that Howmet that she's mentioning. There's all kinds of stocks that look like this if you know them and you find them. You don't know it, or I don't know it, I shouldn't speak for anybody else, but a pretty looking chart. I did not get this reload at our breakdown price. So I took the L at VWAP on NVIDIA, came to Micron just because I liked the level, the lower high. So we shorted 104.30. It then broke down here 103.70. So we added in there, took out actually the rest of those shares, and then it just bounced off our target 103. So the target was here. It bounced off that level, gets me out, going into 330. At that time, I still like another pullback, but maybe not into the same level if we're going to trend down. So I'm going to play it by ear. The previous support can always turn into resistance, 103.40. They're on Micron. So top to bottom, it ends up being about $1.30, but that's a couple of trades on it. And easy flat bottom break. And I don't say easy in that, like, whatever, if it goes up another If it breaks that and immediately rejects it, you get stopped out for a 20 or 30 cent hit pretty easily as well. What I mean by that is it's easy to see that it was a flat bottom. That's the way that I should say it. It's easy to tell that there's a buyer at this level that if they lose, maybe it's going to continue to the downside. But that's a good-looking stock that How met Aerospace. I'm curious to see how GE, well, it's GE Healthcare tomorrow, but I'm interested to see how their aerospace does when they report. GE Healthcare, I think that's been a disappointment. I think there's been some other better places to put money in the healthcare sector. But at 330, I anticipated there might be not that much in terms of imbalances. Early look, Pfizer is a 1.2 million to the buy side, and worth keeping an eye on TD. Yesterday, TD had an imbalance, and it was the same direction for decent size in both here and Toronto, which usually means it's not that bad of a trade. If it's a buy in New York and a sell in Toronto, you don't want to touch it. But if it's a buy in both markets, there might be a trade there in TD. I'll keep eyes on that. Maybe Pfizer. We'll see what that does. 1.2 million is nothing for Pfizer.
Did I do this today already? Show this? Yeah, because I just wanted to show it to you because
Toronto.
Yeah, it was Toronto.
It might have been that.
It was today. Okay, so anyway, it was today. I showed it. I just wanted to show you, and I was talking with Brankles about this as well. Wow, now Texas Instruments on the reload is $1 in the money. So let's see if Canada could do another one today, DJ, because right there, 7,000 yesterday, top markets. This is top 10 traders at Real Trading. Pretty quiet here in the summer. Like I said, it's been a good month for some, but it has been rough for sure as it goes. And I'm just saying, like, you know, it's not like it's been a crazy month. It's just sometimes it's up and down. And I can sort of see that right here by noticing some of these numbers a little weaker than normal, and then some pretty new exchanges in here as well. CBOE Canada, CSE Vienna, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm going to try to do this every single day to show you guys that, yeah, Europe is back, baby.
For the record, man, I'll tell you, there was a point, and I'm dating myself here, but the trading company got the European markets. And I think the first market that was good was like London. And I remember, like, obviously, if you want to trade the US, you want to trade London. At the open, there's a lot of action, right? Well, that's in the middle of the night. So I remember the first week, Sean, myself, and our other partner were like, well, let's try it out, man. We were coming, we'd trade the market, go home, eat, try to get some sleep, and then we'd come back to the trading floor. It was like 2 a.m. or something, and we would to trade the open. And what was interesting about it is it was profitable. But the problem was, like I at least for myself, I can definitely speak for myself. The morning would come to trade the U.S. markets. You'd trade like an hour and a half of the open, go back home and try to sleep, and then wake up to trade the open. After 1 week of it, I was like, I can't, even if it's making money, can't do this. Not going to be able to trade the U.S. markets and pull that off. It was just a little bit too difficult. I think you stuck it out for a couple of weeks. I was done after like 5 days. I think you stuck it out a little bit longer than I was, but it wouldn't work because it was not doable. But you can trade 24/7 at Real Trading. The Toronto markets, look at TD Bank, man. It did like a huge volume spike at the end of the day yesterday. I'm only pointing out the daily chart because it's been absolute crap, but then 74 has been a godsend for this stock. But yesterday, it did a huge volume spike, and then the volume spike at the close broke it out. I know everyone looks at, so if you're at Real Trading and you can't find something, I'll look at a 15-minute chart to show you. This is TD Bank the last week. This is TD Bank today when it broke this channel to the upside. There are opportunities everywhere. I know we don't talk about Canadian stocks, but that did a consolidation, rally 4 days in a row, consolidate for a week. Now it's rallying again. And it's right at a pretty big level at like 82, 83, that if it breaks that out, ayo, why not? It's already made this nice press. That setup looks just as good as any other stock, that you're going to find out there for trading opportunities. So shout out to Real Trading. Toronto markets, we're in there sometimes. But with only maybe 10 minutes to go in here, we might get one more pop at that MU. We'll see if we get a chance to do it. Adam DeLuze, move to London, and then you can do both just like you. Hey, congratulations if you can pull it off. I'm the first to admit, like that whole getting up and then doing work, going back, trying to get sleep and breaking it up like that, it just wasn't for me. And a bunch of traders did it for a while, and kudos to them. And we've had traders trade the open, the close in the European market, traders that trade Asia. This floor used to trade the Asian markets at one point overnight.
104.80. Okay. We're now $2. And we said that, like I said before, man. And I talked about this with Brendan as well. It's like the show has a different view if you're watching it. rather than being on it. So I spent some time there on Monday. And that was why I had the suggestion of like sirening up when we're into new trades, when trades are moving, when trades are happening, and especially when we have a couple of positions, because it's hard for all of us to pay attention to what's happening. But right now, let's hit it one more time. It is now, and I don't know what's happening with Micron right now, but I'm glad we stuck out with NVIDIA. We are now $250 in the money on NVIDIA for another one. We've had multiple dollars today come in for us, and here goes it just again right now into the close, man. It's only 340. We just wicked that bottom. I'm now thinking, honestly, I'm going to tighten up this stop. Problem is I got to cancel I would just stopped at 104. Remember, our stop on this was 30 cents. We're now 250 in the money. So let's go. Like hashtag real trading, man. I hope that you guys, what I've learned more and more again is that, like I said, I feel like this is one of the best markets we've had in a very, very long time. And I'm talking about for months and months and months. And it's like, you don't need to use, like, sometimes I'll get hit because I'll use whatever. Like, the idea is like, if I use a couple thousand shares on NVIDIA per trade or something like that, like I've held those before, right? Even when it was a more expensive stock, but it's just like, then your stop tends to be a little bit tighter because you don't want to lose, like, you don't want to, like, you don't have 2,000 shares and lose $1.50 or something on NVIDIA. But sometimes it's like, if you use a little bit either tighter stops, right, when stuff comes up and you don't mess with it when there's no levels, that's one thing. Or maybe you can use a little bit less shares and then try to hold on for these big days, because then when you look back over, it's like, holy crap. Like, I cannot believe that just 2 hours ago, trading wise, right? Like, I didn't trade that much during lunch. And we were having not a great day. And then right now, all of a sudden, we go from basically, we weren't near the bottom, but we were there. And now all of a sudden, just from sitting here, from being patient, from looking at stocks, from talking about the different plays that we like, so on and so forth, we're able to have the P&L that we're looking for today. And it was not like that, man. It was not like that early on, but it came through late. So again, we stay away, and it might be, actually, I got to put my stop in. I don't know what I'm doing here. But Tesla, again, we were long, and then we reversed into the short, and we lost it. The short obviously is great. I mean, look at the market down 1.5. But again, stay away from stocks you're uncertain of, and put your money where your mouth is and trade the right name. So, okay, just on that note, where is this? 104.10. 104.21. You guys can join me if you want. We're 250 in the money on this trade. Bingo, bango, bongo. Now set up, ready to go. And boom, we're now $1 in the money on Texas Instruments. We are now $1 in the money there on our boy NVIDIA. $3 almost in right there. So all is good here. Let's just make sure that we keep the momentum going. We'll put the glasses on so we can see clearer now at what we're doing into this close. We got these early, but I know it's Neil's thing with these glasses.
Well, no, it's not my thing. You got yours before I got mine.
Way long ago because I was getting headaches. These are gunners.
100%. Straight up, I was getting headaches by the end of the day. I don't think it was the screen so much as it was the combination between the screens and then the lights we have because of the show. So in the middle of the day, I try to wear them in the middle of the day. The problem with wearing it when I'm doing more active trading is I love my layout, but when it's blue light glasses, the level 2.
That's why I keep changing them.
Okay, so the level 2 has one of the levels. Can we come to my level 2 for a second? Ramin's like, no, you can. So you have like one of the deep blue levels in there, which if I'm looking at it on a smaller level 2, which I have other ones up, it's really hard to read the size. So it's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it's really great because I don't get the headaches in the afternoon anymore, which is pretty much all I care about. So I'm pretty... Ramin says she has blue light glasses. I don't care. I'm sure they look very cool for you, Ramin. But I wanted to get at something. Like the middle of the day actually wasn't that great. Like the morning worked out well. Like I had only Tesla that was bad, but the middle of the day was like, one win, one loss, and then we had a little bit of LT. Was able to get it back here, but with 15 minutes to go, there was multiple questions in the chat today about Carvana. Or comments, and what do you think about Carvana? Carvana's gonna tank, and I haven't traded Carvana probably since the last time they had earnings or like the day after it, something along those lines. Not usually the kind of name that I would think for this kind of a move, but here's what I'm looking at for Carvana. Clearly you can see the 50-period moving average on Carvana. You can see it holding, you can see the trend to the upside, but all of a sudden, Remember we talked about for flat bottom breaks, why am I using a non-straight line? There. If you can't tell that you've got a clear support around 120 and the 50-period moving average, Carvana loses this, I think there's a short opportunity. It's dancing around, it's got resistance and all that kind of good stuff. You could probably day trade it short 135. Do that for the last week, you're probably banking on Carvana. But I'm looking for it to lose that $120 level. That's what would be, that day it does that, I want to look short. And if it's under that the next day, I want to look short that day too. So that's what I'm seeing here on CVNA. Fundamentally, you can say whatever you want about that stock. They've done some great things to turn it around. Some people would say they probably still are not going to exist in a while, but I don't care about all that. I just see a flat bottom break at 120 bucks. And if it happens, I want to be looking for the short. The good thing about trading is patterns show up on all time frames. Something that shows up on a daily or weekly can be valid in a 5-minute chart or a 3-minute chart. And maybe you like the trade, maybe you don't. We got about 5 minutes till the imbalances roll in. I'm going to have eyes on TD and maybe like NVIDIA's had imbalances every now and then. Those will be the two that I'll be watching. I don't think we'll get it to short the pop there in Micron. But you never really know. Still have a couple of minutes. Maybe it jumps into resistance and we take one last trade on this one.
All right.
Microsoft was another one.
345. We do have,
still strong.
I just tagged Brian Shannon because this is a VWAP trade. He's going to come on. We'll talk all about that anchored VWAP with Brian Shannon. Just making sure that my stops are in. So we did cover some Texas Instruments. It did go down into 200. I was thinking about a little bit lower. Let's see what happens in just 4 minutes. The imbalances will come. Yeah, what's up, Bitcoin trader? To trade $400,000 worth of shares, how long did it take you to not be nervous? Still nervous. So yeah, still haven't battled that demon yet. And that's why I talk about it's like, you know, I always get, you always hear me go, oh, like that. It's like, it's like sometimes when you put on those, I mean, I had a big position come through on NVIDIA earlier today. I had to scramble over there and get out of it really quickly as well, right? So it's like, yeah, I feel like I trade differently when I have the bigger positions on, which is not a good thing. So I still got to work around that, and that's part of why we talk about that every single day. And I always go back to the same thing, and I want to thank everybody for looking at this. Over 135,000 views on this pinned tweet from February. So go find out, go have a look there, and it does talk a little bit about getting the space that you need and everything to be able to grow as a trader and so on and so forth. So I feel like there's something there to look at and, you know, something to talk about. So if this comes back into 201, debating just putting a bid out there, taking another dollar on this name. Texas Instruments just kind of climbing up my board, man. Because we're able to reload it, we actually wind up making more money on Texas Instruments than we did even on Starbucks. And Starbucks was this kind of a play. It's just, I don't trade this with as many shares, actually, even though it's a $75 name. I actually put on more shares on Texas Instruments. That is a $200 name. So this is what I'm trying to talk about when I'm trying to say, like, it's pick your levels, know your trade, know the levels that you like. And I mean, we found it there on Texas and we went for it. Remember where my stop is on NVIDIA? We just came close. Why did that not trigger? And there it does trigger right there. The diamond hand man is now over with right there as we wind up taking $1.50 or whatever that was, more than that, $2. There, yep, on NVIDIA. So good little trade there to end that. Hey, if that's the stop out spot and we get stopped out there and then the thing now tanks $5 or something like that, that's completely fine. I mean, that's the level we're looking at. You know, if I just keep on taking these profits, I don't have this, right? So yes, it doesn't look as good as getting out at 103.80 where it's probably going right now. But that was a spike up. We could have used the 50-period moving average. But heading into the close, man, you know, mentally everything changes because it is getting later on in the day.
If it was 3 o'clock, I think I'd be punching Nike long if it was 3 o'clock. But it's 3:48 right before the imbalance will come out. It's breaking out the high of the day. It's up 1%. Nike's having a good time the last little bit. I know I said last week with Obi that if during the Olympics it didn't bounce and hold 71, I'd look for the whole, everyone expects Nike to go up on the Olympics. If they don't, that could be an interesting short. Well, it's going up like a lot of people have said they could get that bounce. It's just a little late in the day for a breakout trade. Shout out to Benton C in the chat. You know, if you're in this one, congrats, it's at that high. Still a decent shot that you can break out the 70 eventually. This is $77. So if you can't tell this, that Nike dumped off $100, it dumped off like 97. And then the next day, the high was 77. It still has yet to break out that high. So you're basically making a rounded bottom. And yeah, it's already had 4 up days in a row. But if it breaks 77, I think I said this the next day. Like if it breaks this double top, which it never did, I think you look for the breakout fill in some of that gap after earnings on Nike. It still hasn't made that break. So it's at 74 now. If it breaks 77, I'm still going to like it. Nothing has changed for me on Nike. We're just like weeks later, and it's the same setup. And maybe we get there this week for Nike. I would love that. Less than 1 minute to go on the imbalances. Pfizer can come out if it comes at 1.4 million to buy like it says. I don't care. It's got to be something else. TD was big again yesterday. It might be worth a look in Toronto. And we'll see what Apple or like NVIDIA, if they come out with size, they can be worth a shot. So that's what I'm going to be watching. I'm going to put Nike on the radar for that 77 break tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, whenever, if it does happen. That should be a good one at some point. But the eyeballs right now, we're going to be on, I think, NVIDIA in the next 10 seconds. We'll see if it has big buy, big sell, and then maybe we can make a trade off it. We'll see.
All right, here we go. We're almost out. We get punched out of everything. So we're out of everything right now. Let's see what happens here into the close. All right, here we go. All right. So, yeah, Pfizer does remain a bit. Oh,
5.5.
Sell right there. So what's up with that? NVIDIA with a big sell. We just took that out, right? And then it comes right back in on that sell. That's a big one, man. Like, what is up with that? We'll test a very, very small. I'm going to get off this.
Maybe if AMD was like there. But
back up to the upside right there. We'll take a small little bid here, or offer here. Very, very small. I don't want to throw, like I said, man, we've already done damage here on on NVIDIA today, but there is a big sell imbalance coming for that. So it's probably not going to do anything.
Oh, crap.
It could be an L here where I'll definitely, and NVIDIA is the #1 stock, so I'm not. So what I put on right now, just for example, is like 5%, not even, of what we had for real trades. So here we go. It looks like it wants to get back up to the upside. I might actually put on a little bit more. Right now, but yeah, NVIDIA, we don't want to throw it all away.
Oh my goodness.
Right now, but so far so good here. Let's see what winds up happening with NVIDIA. It looks like it's trying to go back.
That's why algos win. That was 104.
That's why day traders lose.
No, like here's the thing. Like yeah, sure, it came out 5.5 million to sell. By the time your eyes see 5.5 million to sell, like holy crap, that's really big. 84s. It was at 104.40. That's a 60-cent move. The rest that you were able to get was like another 30 or 40 pennies down there. The algos eat all of that up. All you can do is hope for continuation. There's some selling at 104. It breaks 104, I'm going to get out. It's that simple. But 5.5 million shares is a decent size on NVIDIA. It's the only thing out there. Grab is a $3 stock. Pfizer, we said we don't care about Pfizer. Cisco's $1 million. That's a buy of $1 million for Cisco. And Intel, 1 million shares on Intel isn't very significant at all. So yeah, 1 million on Intel to the buy side. But Intel's going to pair off because it always does. The only significant imbalance here is NVIDIA. And even with that sell imbalance, apparently the market is 2.4 billion to the buy side, according to Adara. So with that, NVIDIA down 7% with a big sell, and yet the market is apparently a buy imbalance. Not that I see a bunch of big names on there.
Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA is one of the only.
It's the only thing.
One of the only sells.
How is it 2.4 to
104? So we'll get out of that one. And yeah, really no damage. Kind of just the same thing happening here as we go. We are going to get ready for some big earnings coming through after hours. So there's NVIDIA right there trying to go. Pfizer's a nice little bid. FSLR, Microsoft, all coming through. According to the notes here, we have FSLR right at 4, pins at 405, Starbucks at 405. Let's just see. Did I see Starbucks on here? I thought I saw Starbucks on here. SPUX. Oops, not Brazil. Why did I do that? NQ right there. Yeah. Oh wow, Starbucks. Okay, $76. That's a nice play right there for Starbucks. Let's go. Let me load this up. See what it's just been doing. There it is. Like nice little move up there. It's too bad that we sold that, but that's okay. Intel, Starbucks for solar. Microsoft 410, AMD 410. Those are the big ones, and we'll talk to Brian Shannon about his TGTX trade and Palantir as well. So we'll talk to him about a couple different things there. Starbucks, nice move there to the upside to end the day, it looks like. So yeah, I'm excited for their earnings. We recently bought this. What was the second? 72.
What was the second name you said with Michael Shannon there? No, with Michael Shannon, not the earnings. It was
TGTX was some therapeutics name. That he's been talking about.
I think I've heard that name in the chat a few times, but
probably because of that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So good look there. Sometimes it's always good to get exposure to ideas and stocks that you might not be interested in, right? Like that aerospace company that I'd never heard of that has a gorgeous looking weekly chart. Who knows? Maybe you find something you like. So at 355, if you've never paid attention to the imbalances, at 350, the imbalances come out for the closing auction. At 355, it's usually a major pairing event. So whatever it is, NVIDIA is now 7 million to the sell side at 355. My expectation is that's going to change in a big way. Whether it changes from 7.5 to like 10 or 7.5 to 4, if it drops big, I would want to get out if it starts dropping. If it maintains the same size, I think you want to hold it into the close and give it a shot. So all I'm going to do at 355 is trail it. So I had a stop at 104. I'm just tightening my stop up at 355, which is what I always do at this particular time of day. Who knows? I would have expected sometimes it would have been another name, like an AMD going into earnings. But NVIDIA just so happened to have big imbalances every now and then in the last couple of sessions. So I'm going to give it back into the 80 level and then see where we can go. The low of the day is 102.50. It'll be pretty binary at 305. It either grows, shrinks, or stays the same. And only one of those is going to make me want the low of the day, and that is growing.
Yeah, we're short. Same way. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening. It's 355. Oh, here we go. Let's show these imbalances to see what does wind up happening. There's Starbucks still.
No update. No update.
Just to see what happens there. So there it is. Nice move upside there as it just rips.
Yeah. Wow.
It didn't even show it. The chart didn't show it up there. There it goes. Right. So we actually get that fill down there at 50s before getting stopped out at 104. So it just popped up there. No problems. Really. Nothing. I mean,
see 355
losing on it, but it wasn't. 355 reversed over. I don't even see it.
I don't even see it.
But anyways, yeah. So it got paired off. So that's exactly the move there for NVIDIA at the end of the day. Nice move back up into 104, 104.20, 104.30. Still going higher there into the close is NVIDIA.
Oh, apparently Tesla's pumping too. Tesla's up $4 from the bottom.
The market is really ripping.
Oh yeah, the market's back to 1%. Well. Okay,
it's still bad, but not as bad.
The ES is almost green. How about that?
Apple's green, so that's good. Apple up 0.62 right now, starting to go as well. Look at this afternoon for Apple. Missed that one. I wish I would have seen this. And someone said, like, why do we have scanners? But I mean, the thing is, I do have scanners.
Apple's overview.
I can't do everything. This was a long all afternoon. Come on, guys. Someone's got to point that out to me. We could have made a lot of money on Apple. I would have put this on. I mean, this is what we're looking for. Anyways, the market's
Apple
red.
221 break.
So I don't want to 221 tomorrow. Yeah, I just wanted to see, like, I don't know. So I changed my mind on like going short in up markets and going long in down markets, but we did make some good money today on Starbucks going long. That was the only one that we had long. We had Tesla early, which wound up not working. But in the afternoon, I can play that completely differently, right? It's in the afternoon, the stocks have sort of showed us their hands, and it looks like here with Apple taking VWAP, taking the 50 period and really supporting it, bouncing off these levels. So that would have been something there to look at. We'll probably be on, the sticky note tomorrow. We'll figure that out right now for Apple. So, pretty good, man. Okay, good. A bunch of you. Thank you, Be Free. Good. And that's good. Yeah. So thank you, Sebastian. We are thankful for what we've achieved. Today's a good day. Hey, look. I wasn't even like trophies. Like I was not even looking at that, man. We were like still trying to find our ways earlier on. And then the afternoon brought us to where we needed to be. And not just the afternoon, it's just like, positive thinking, positive trades, not getting down on yourself and being able to battle back. So that's what wound up turning.
You don't want to weigh on yourself like the offer is weighing on Qualcomm.
Has Qualcomm been?
There's always a chart that you haven't looked at today, and then someone puts up the chart that Qualcomm is being taken to the woodshed. You're right, down 6%, but it's not like it's alone. Nvidia's down 7%. There's chip names. There's things in the space that are looking bad. I went to write on my iPad 221 breakout for tomorrow on Apple, and then realized I already wrote that this morning. It just didn't happen. This morning it was true because Apple was going right into better chart here. The 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. Apple was going right into this 221 level, and then look what happened. It just rejected it. Now it looks a heck of a lot stronger. So makes the same low, 216, and trying to break out the 221. So we'll let Sean mosey on over to the desk. I don't want to say in order, but you've got the big names are going to be AMD and Microsoft. But you got First Solar, you've got Pinterest as well. Lemonade's got a big short float. That should be a spicy one aftermarket. You got Brian Shannon going to come on there and drop some knowledge and some ideas that he's going to have, maybe recap some of the other ones. So you're not going anywhere here. If you enjoy the show, it's only going to get better as the earnings season of the week kicks off in earnest tonight. I know we had good earnings this morning and big movers and all that kind of stuff that were okay, but the real volume's coming in and it's going to start tomorrow. Forget about the Fed. the earnings season is going to matter more because they're not going to do anything tomorrow. They're going to leave the rates the same, and then we're going to make a big hoopla about it. Then it's going to be about the names that we're already doing volume before that, which is probably going to be Microsoft, AMD, little First Solar action going into the final minute of the day. Just very quickly, I mentioned that Tesla was ramping into the close. I don't think I showed you guys. Yeah, it just caught resistance at 224. Earlier in the session, I mean, come on. Look at that top, look at that resistance, right into 224, and then there is your failure. So double bottom, double top in the afternoon. Thankfully, we're able to find some good ones here today, but Tesla was a miss. I think Apple, I agree with Sean, Apple is a bit of a miss for a long trade. But the shorts were fantastic. You just got to find the trades that work. You can always do better, and you work on that tomorrow, which we're going to do. But you know what time it is. Time to get the camera off me. Throw it on over to Adara because we've got the countdown to big earnings coming through. Adara in 5, 4, 3, 2. You know what to do. All right, there we go. As mentioned, yeah, the ES I jinxed it. The ES actually got close to green. Now it's down 0.5%. The NASDAQ closing down almost 1.5%. Not a very good day. I want to first shout out Fabian and Ramin. Shout out the midday as well with Adara and Sharif doing a fantastic job. But I'm pretty sure I just heard First Solar. First Solar is already running to the upside here. I did not hear the numbers in my ear because I'm talking loudly. But First Solar did spike 219 all the way back to 210. So it looks like it's flat. Somebody might have fat-fingered that if the numbers aren't out yet. Always be careful when you're trading these names. We have big earnings coming right through. We've got Brian Shannon, we got Sean, Adara at the desk, and the Super Bowl of earnings week starts nowish. Let's go.
Microsoft's out right now. Microsoft is out right now reporting. Let's go find out what they're reporting here. Let's get out a 1-minute chart. So there it goes. 5-minute chart. Microsoft is tank city right now to the downside. There goes Microsoft 402. We talked about the implied move of 5%. It's Microsoft, and it's a banger if you're short. Nice move to the downside. What is NVIDIA doing on this one? We said watch out below if some of these companies start to miss. NVIDIA now going down. Microsoft, Adara will have the numbers when she does, but there it is. It's a nice move to the downside. 404 right now for SOFI, down 5. Not a good number for Microsoft, obviously, as that comes in. FSLR is what we're looking for. First Solar here on a 1-minute chart. Who cares? Not doing anything. Microsoft. Oh, God, I almost threw up in my mouth. Right now, Microsoft continues to go lower, lower, lower. It's beat EPS 7 out of 8 quarters. It's gapped higher 4 of the last 8 quarters. Let's go find out what's going on here, Adara. Microsoft getting pumped.
I can tell you they missed here for not all the numbers, but some of the specifically sector revenue, a little disappointing. Q4 cloud revenue, 36.8 million versus the estimates here of 36.8 billion versus the estimates of 36.84. So that's going to be a slight miss. They also had intelligent cloud revenue. That was going to be a miss here as well. 28.5 billion versus the estimates of 28.68 billion. So again, slight misses here for intelligent cloud revenue and cloud revenue. They did have a slight beat here for Q4 productivity, and they beat the revenue overall. So overall Q4 revenue, regardless of sectors, coming in through 64.7 billion versus the estimate of 64.38 billion. So they did beat on revenue overall. They just missed on cloud and intelligent cloud revenue. And their EPS here, this looks like this was a beat here as well. As I get more numbers, I'll read them out to you guys. Okay, good. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, Microsoft's starting to go to the downside. Let's just check out if it's a cloud problem, then it's going to be a problem across a couple different names as well. Look at Google right now getting hit in the after hours. Google closes 170.50 down to 169.79. Amazon, oh God. Amazon right now is getting killed as well. Amazon getting it right now. That's a bad look. Oh, man, my wife just got her hair done. She might have to go get that, put that. Can you glue hair back on? No, it costs more money. Okay, nice move to the downside there for Amazon as it goes. Meta right now, it's Flush City. Fail. Wow, the market right now, Adara, everything giving it up.
Q's getting to the downside. Microsoft not helping anybody. Down to 390. Again, goes downside for Microsoft. It is all the way below the 200 period moving average. We talked about not DCAing into some names. We did it to NVIDIA. That's it. We bought some Google and some NVIDIA recently. Microsoft right now, absolutely horrible. Meta getting killed as well to the downside. There goes Meta into 450. Where does that look on the daily for Meta right now? Bad, man. Getting into the 200 period as well for Meta. Those of you that did not buy last earnings dip, get ready to buy the next earnings dip because Meta is dipping, boy, and they didn't even report. Microsoft right now, numbers, GAAP EPS 295 beats 292. Sales 64.7 beats 64. Why is Microsoft down? It was the cloud numbers, as Adara mentioned. There again, everything's green across the board on Benzinga, so we'll figure that out.
Cloud intelligent cloud revenue coming a little bit lower here. That's what I'm seeing.
All right, so cloud numbers, and actually that was the exact example that I gave on the show. Remember, I said, let's find out what's up with the cloud for Microsoft. What's up with AI? Are they able to monetize there? Let's find out the number from anything AI related, right? That's going to be their Copilot is what I'm looking for there. So Microsoft continues to push lower. I'm actually not even logged in yet. I'm going to get logged in so we can have a quick live look. Any other numbers coming out, Adara?
We're waiting. Oh, we got quite a few. We're waiting for Pinterest and Starbucks and Arista Networks coming in at 405. We just got Starbucks in, so we're going to take a look at that. Then at 415, we have AMD. We did have actually Microsoft coming in earlier than expected. So let me take a look here at the Starbucks numbers. From what I'm seeing, adjusted EPS in line with estimates, 93 cents.
Oh, yeah,
estimates
Starbucks.
Of 93 cents.
Yeah, Starbucks.
They also here had revenue. This is actually going to be a bit of a miss for revenue, $9.11 billion, versus the estimates of $9.24 billion for fiscal Q2. Their Q3 comparable store sales, their fiscal Q3. Q3 comparable sales here declining, for store sales declining about 3%. That's more than the estimated decline of 2.35%. So these are not great numbers, guys.
For Starbucks?
Yes.
Complete opposite, man. Starbucks up 7%. Starbucks moving. No, it's not good numbers, but it's complete opposite day right there. Starbucks ripping up. Guys, live level 2 look is on right now. NVIDIA is at a Hyundai clean. Will it hold it or not? There's NVIDIA right now. This is all before AMD. We don't have AMD yet, right? So right now, or do we? Don't have AMD, right?
I'm not seeing
AMD right now, $100 for NVIDIA. Man, oh man, down now 10% on the day goes NVIDIA. A quick live look. Thank you for that update on Starbucks, Adara. I mean, it had to move up. Now it's starting to pull back. Live level 2 right now for Starbucks. But it's Microsoft. Oh man, this has been... Like, you look at your account and you're like, yay, we're doing so well. And then all of a sudden, reality spikes in. Microsoft down 9% and still going down is Microsoft at its lows right now, 389 and change, man. There's Starbucks trying to pull back just a little bit. You know what? Trade Ideas, I love you, but whatever. I'm going to use these charts. NVIDIA.
Pinterest too.
Pinterest, yeah, that's nice. NVIDIA right now, 101. Let's find out what Pinterest is doing though, Adara. Pinterest is now out. You know, this is not a name that I don't think a lot of people will hold, but it's a name to look at here as we'll get a good idea about revenues. Wow, Pinterest. Do not hold this name in your account. You're down 20% for Pinterest. It's down here, down to $30. Pinterest, like, again, look at this daily chart for Pinterest right now. Hey, man, if you have long calls, if you have calls in the market, you ain't a happy person today, and this is only day 2. We don't even have the worst names coming out yet. Look at Starbucks. We don't even have AMD yet. Look at NVIDIA, just bounced off 100 as well. That's starting to go to the downside. Microsoft, down, down, down. This is bad. This is bad. Adara, this is bad right now. The Qs as well. Down now 2.5% now is the NASDAQ here in the after hours. They're buying up AMD. I did notice that. They're buying AMD here. Potentially someone getting ahead of this number. I don't know why, but right now AMD being bought up a little bit off of that 134 dip there. Damn, Daniel, are you invested in Meta right now? Meta is getting clocked. Meta down 5%. They didn't even report yet, guys. Meta getting hit to the downside. Tell me another show that does this.
I don't know. I can't.
Tell me one. Tomorrow you'll find Neil here, which I'm sure will be right back with the same hype. Here we go, man. What is going on with ANET as well? We can check.
Oh, we have ANET. I can give you ANET.
Let me check out what the reaction is right now to Arista Networks. Oh man, Arista Networks downside as well. Down 10% for ANET, man. This is not good right now. Microsoft's going to need to hold up. If we go to a daily chart for SOFI, you're all the way back, man. You're back to May levels. We talked about names potentially going red on the year. Microsoft, that is now coming into play down there at 370. What is our friend Tesla doing right now on these horrible numbers? Tesla going to the downside 220. Adara, give us those numbers on Arista.
Arista, okay, so they actually did beat here from what I'm seeing. Q2 revenue beat 1.69 billion versus estimates of 1.652 billion. That's going to be a beat. They beat as well for Q2 adjusted earnings per share, $2.10 versus the estimate of $1.95. That will be a beat. I'm not seeing how their outlook compares, but I can give you guys their outlook because their outlook here for revenue for Q3 coming in 1.72 to 1.75 billion dollars. I'm not seeing how this compares though to the expected outlook, but they did beat on revenue and earnings per share. Pinterest as well, they beat on revenue, they beat on earnings per share. However, their revenue outlook was not great. Well below estimates there for PINS.
Yeah, Pinterest is an absolute nightmare. Starbucks as well, guys. Made that move up, man, and we should have gone and got those, get those gift cards going because 79.52 was the top there. Look at Starbucks. The only thing that I thought was going to save this afternoon. Yeah, man, we got to buy some more matcha frappes or whatever, frappuccinos right there. But you are starting to pull back in right now. What was that?
The Starbucks, yeah, Starbucks.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad.
You mentioned that the numbers were bad, and I was like, oh my God, it is coming back to the downside right now for that. We don't even have AMD yet, and honestly, the market is getting timber time right now. But look what just happened there. Wow, we brought this to you live. Who else is going to do this, right? Like, we just showed you, and I was like, NVIDIA is pushing $100. Remember we said that? That was $100. It stopped on a dime at $100. Kathy came in, bought, I don't know who came in. Someone came in and bought this name up. It is a roller coaster for NVIDIA as that goes down. I want to thank all 4,000 of you watching right now as we get ready to rock and roll. Live quotes here. Live quotes on earnings names. Let's see what's happening with AMD. Imagine we're watching this and it just comes out live. You could see the bid drop $10. Something crazy here on AMD. 410 is the expected release for AMD and the numbers that we're looking for here, and we'll see if it can come through. But right now, the numbers on AMD, we're looking at an EPS. Let me just get it for you here. AMD, 67 cents EPS. Revenue is $5.71 billion. This is expected. EPS estimate of 0.67. So we'll wait to hear that number when it does come out. But this is what it looks like. Microsoft right now, the bell of the ball until the ball was dropped. And right now, there it goes back in. It's fumbling itself through 400, back into 390. Let's see if Microsoft can hold the bid. Let me get our trade ideas scanner up here. Let me go find out what's going on with SOFI. Where was that 200 period moving average? It was at 402. So if we can get that to come through, that could be something. We're going to have Brian Shannon on up real quick. Where is year to date here on this chart? We'll drop an anchor right here and see what we're dealing with. So we were actually on the year to date anchored VWAP level of 416 right there today. Now it's giving it up. It's Microsoft and it is a downside. Thank you, Alex Diaz. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Tell everybody you've now found the best market recap show available is Trader TV Live. Pleasure to be here with Adara. Pleasure to be here today. This is what we do every day at 4 o'clock. We come in at 8:30. We provide you the best live trading you've ever seen. We're providing you the recap show that you've never seen before. Nothing like this before. Let's go. It's Pins. What is Pins doing right now? I mean, we could keep talking. I could keep selling the business. We don't need to do that. There's the move down for Pinterest. It's ugly and it's nasty. It's down 15% for Pinterest right now. Adara, we don't even have AMD yet.
We don't. I'm waiting.
So, I mean, what is up with that? Arista, AMD 415.
Yeah, that's why we're waiting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, at 4:15, anything you want to talk about quickly, Adair? Because at 4:15, it's about to be heart attack.
It's all over at 4:15. Yeah, I think Starbucks, keep in mind, guys, they did miss China sales, which we know were an issue with their last report, down a cool 14% comparable China sales. So just to be clear, Starbucks might have had that balance, but those numbers were pretty rough across the board. Larger than expected decrease in comparable store sales for this quarter. We also, again, had that drop in Starbucks sales. Did they miss revenue? Yes, they did. They had inline earnings per share as well. So this was just not a great report across the board for Starbucks, though they did talk about their efficiency efforts, saying that they're tracking their efficiency efforts, quote, ahead of expectations, and they're partially offsetting these investments associated with the, quote, cautious consumer environment. So consumer concerns for SPUX.
Our main guy over here, Brendan, needs to be buying some more flat whites over there, because right now we are starting to go to the downside for AMD, for Starbucks. I just dropped the anchors on AMD right now, and we'll talk to Brian about this, but the anchor, year-to-date anchor right now, we are well under on AMD. It's actually funny because the same anchor from the top is at this level of 170 here for AMD. Okay, here we go, man. It is checking my watch now. It's getting close to that 4:15. Let's go over here. Microsoft downside as that continues to bleed. Here we go. AMD is about to drop. You can see no movements right now on the live level 2. We will get AMD imminent right now. If we can get a drop in, I see you in the green room, Brian. Give me a second. If AMD comes out, I want to get to this so I don't interrupt. So here we go. Let's wait to see what happens with AMD. Remember, those anchors are up here at 170, man. They have nothing to do with anything right now. AMD looking for a number it has to put on, man. NVIDIA just bounced completely. And Brian, check this out. NVIDIA just bounced at $100 flat. That was the pre-market bottom live here on Trader TV Live. You see what's happening with an NVIDIA right there. But it's AMD that we're waiting for. Let's watch this live right now on the screen. These are live quotes for AMD. It is now past 4:15.
AMD, where are you at?
Hey, Lisa Sue, what are you doing, man? You afraid to show us these numbers?
They should be here, Lisa, soon. They should be here already.
Yeah, they should be at Lisa soon. Yeah, they should be sooner than later.
Yeah.
And right now, we are starting to feel a little bit of pressure. Yeah, tick, tick, tick. Hopefully not. Boom for AMD. Okay, here it is.
Gosh,
so
here.
AMD just moves a little bit. We get a little bit of a spike up. Is that a fat finger? AMD is now out. 69 cents for 67. It's a beat for AMD. Here he comes to save the day. It's AMD is here. Never fear, as AMD goes red on the year, now comes up with a number, putting it out. It's 142. Move to the upside right now. 142 and change right there on AMD. Let me call up again, and we're going to get to Adara for the numbers.
Yeah.
Then we're going over to my favorite. It's Brian Shannon. There goes AMD right now, up a couple points. Remember, it was destroyed earlier, up 2.6% now, starting to go 143 and change. What does that look like on the daily chart? We got to get above this 200, which is 153. Adara, drop the lines right now. What did AMD come out with?
Well, they beat here for adjusted earnings per share 69 cents versus the estimate of 68 cents. That would be a beat. We also had here revenue, which was also a beat, $5.835 billion versus the estimate of $5.724 billion, so $5.8 billion versus the estimate of $5.7 billion. That is also going to be a beat for AMD. They guided their Q3 revenue already, $6.7 billion, so we're seeing higher Q3 than what we got here.
Wait a minute, they guided higher?
Well, I don't know if they got it higher than expectation. They got it higher than this quarter. I haven't seen the estimates here yet.
Expectation.
But nice move here. They're also seeing for Q3 of 2024 revenue plus or minus $300 million from this estimate of $6.7 billion. So they're seeing anywhere from $6.4 billion to $7 billion for Q3 2024 from AMD, guys.
All right, NVIDIA flies up to 104 on that move. So I just want to give everyone a quick idea of what NVIDIA was doing, flying up to 104 and change. And again, who would have thought that AMD could possibly save us here? I'm not sure they will, but we'll wait to see what happens with AMD. Nice move to the upside. But it's Microsoft, again, the biggest and the baddest of them all that reported today. You got a $3 trillion market cap. Or do you anymore? Where is the market cap on here? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, just under there. It's funny that I said, is it still? And it's 295. So after this move, it is now a sub $3 trillion name. Hey, let's go over and find out if 3 trillion means anything. I got someone to ask. Let's go ask him. It's Brian. It's Trader Talk. Oh, man. Mr. Shannon, man, you're joining us on again. This is now Super Bowl week for earnings, you know, and we get Microsoft today. That just came out. I'm not sure if you heard the numbers, but cloud, they beat everywhere, but it was the cloud that was a problem. So it sent some other names down like Meta. We saw NVIDIA get hit, now maybe being saved by AMD. Any initial thoughts about any of these plays that we've just seen?
It's some wild action, Sean, and boy, it was fun listening to you cover it so quickly, you and Adara there, because I can't do it that quickly. So great job by you guys. You know, Microsoft is down below the 200-day moving average, right down to the anchor from the September of 2023 low. So this looks like a place it's likely to stabilize because we had been trying to hold that year-to-date anchor VWAP that had been so strong. So now we're down to this level, and you know, I still see a broken stock below a declining 5-day moving average. So I don't want to buy it, but this looks like a place where institutional support is likely to come in and start to stabilize in here. And, you know, good day trades around it. But as far as putting money into it for something more than that, that's just not my style.
Just to make sure we're on the same page here, I had the anchor, year-to-date anchor at 416, and I actually drew this before you came on because that's something that I've been talking about. That's the same that you're looking at, right?
Correct. Yeah. On my chart, it's that blue one, and yeah, right about 416.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's the right anchor. Now you've taught me a lot to look at those. So year to date is very important. So if we did the same thing for AMD, and I put it on right here, it's the anchored VWAP right here. Year to date anchor for AMD in and around this. We're well below there. This name, honestly, looks like something I don't really want to get involved in. We've seen NVIDIA today, Brian, make that move just in the after hours down to $100. Now trying to stabilize here as well. But this also looks like we have a ways to go. The interesting thing, and you brought this up, Brian, as well, about the 200-period moving average with Microsoft. Here on NVIDIA, we're still well away from that. Although we've took it now on AMD, we still have a way to go there on NVIDIA. My idea here, do we go into NVIDIA on potential AMD strength? If AMD can hold some bids, we have a stronger name here in NVIDIA. Do you like that trade? Or from what we've seen here so far, is it better to wait till August 28th? I mean, that's when NVIDIA reports. Maybe it's a no-fly zone until that date.
That's 4 weeks or more away, right, Sean? So I think there's going to be a lot of trades set up in between there. Meanwhile, NVIDIA came down to the 61.8% retracement of this low to the all-time high. That's also the anchor off of the previous important high over here. So for, you know, if I had to buy one of these, I would absolutely prefer to buy NVIDIA over AMD, but I don't have to buy it, not while it's below the declining 5-day moving average, not for more than a day trade. So I think they'll be prior to August 28th. I think it's highly likely that you will see NVIDIA do, you know, maybe not perfectly like this, but that you'll start to see it come back down around, find some buyers, and build for a push higher, perhaps up in towards 115, even 120, where we have that 50 and 200-day moving average. So I think that the risk is probably behind for NVIDIA. Right. But I'm not a buyer at the same time, not until we see some more structure put in place on the shorter term time frame.
So AMD, I see this. Thanks, Brian. I just see in the chat here, as we'll just interrupt a little bit with AMD here. Their AI business continues accelerating. They're well positioned to deliver strong growth. And thank you to Paul here in the chat, led by a second half 24 bump. So yeah, NVIDIA, there's going to be, you know what, I'm glad that you said that. With 4 weeks away, we don't need to make any calls right now on anything. It's trades are going to set up. And I think that I talked about this on the show today. Our job, and I know we've talked about this all the time, risk managers, right? We don't need to put ourselves into positions where we are vulnerable to not having the right stops, being wrong position size, and then for potential news coming out the way it is. Meta. So Meta right now reports tomorrow, Brian, and I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting of a report. But we just had a nice little dip down in here for Meta. Now, Meta's not the same. They're not Microsoft, obviously, as we worry a little bit about the cloud. I don't know, really, Meta shouldn't be too worried about that, in my opinion. But with sales coming down, we saw YouTube, not a great number from Google as well. Meta on the daily, and I know that, you know, we'll talk more about swing trades and daily charts with you and weekly charts. Meta is also approaching this 200 period. Now, the good thing about Meta, this is that last earnings dip, Brian, that went into 420. So again, thank you so much. And again, Brian never asks me to do anything like this, but this is Maximum Trading with Anchored VWAP. This is the book that's taught us a lot about anchored VWAPs and how to properly position yourselves. That anchor from that last report, we are now underneath that.
Right.
To me, Meta is vulnerable here for another push down as we're below many key technical levels.
I agree. I mean, I think it's a lock that you get the 200-day moving average, and that's also the anchor off of last October's low perfectly. Those two tie together right in here at that, what is this, let's just call it 430. We could be more precise, but
perfect.
Basically 430 level. The easier money for this upward move, over the last couple of years has been made, I think, and you're starting to look at these charts maybe a little bit differently as in terms of maybe this is larger scale distribution and we need to digest these massive moves. This one going from 80 to 520, that's a huge move. Yeah. If you put a simple, Fibonacci retracement off of that, a 38.2% retracement will get you down to 360 or so. I'm not calling for that, but I mean, it would be with what's considered in the norm of an uptrend.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we do get carried away a little bit, and we look at maybe too short time frames, right? And I think you do have to think back, where are we coming from? I mean, that's why I mentioned to you that the NVIDIA 200-day moving average is like $78 or something. We still have a ways to go before we get there. You got to realize that trees don't just grow to the sky at some point. They got to come back in. You know what? Now that I look at this trade, UNG, I mean, I want to look at something that was maybe positive today, and we will go over some more earnings plays. We have over 3,500 watching. I want to thank Bears vs. Bulls for dropping your book in the chat as well. Weekly chart for UNG continues to make moves down, but we're at a good level here, potentially 1340, heading into the fall, heading into winter months. Maybe UNG gets a little bit of a spark there, no pun intended, but what are we thinking about this? Michael Noss has liked some of these plays here, but it looks like it's continuing to go downside. I was just trying to find a name that was up today, and it's natural gas.
Yeah, I don't like the smell of natural gas, and I don't like the way this one looks.
I'll give you a bang for that one.
We hit a new low this week. I mean, today's Tuesday. So the trend is clear. The trend is lower. Look at each time. We've gotten some nice bounces, but they've come right up to the 200-day moving average and gotten rejected hard. I don't see that trend changing. Doesn't mean you can't get a tradable bounce, maybe up into the 18 area, but it's still in a longer-term downtrend. It all comes down to time frame, but you look at the long-term trend. This is a downtrend.
Hi, Brian. I hope you're doing well today. Thank you so much for being with us. I know TGTX you gave us a while ago, and they report next week. They're supposed to report next week. We also have Groupon, which I know you were talking about with a decent short float. They're reporting tonight. So are either of those you're looking at right now? Any levels you have on these names right now?
Yeah, TGTX, if you recall, I got out of the final balance after it broke out past this high right here. That was my cue to get out because it made that big run. It pulled back where I wanted to see it pull back down towards that 20-day moving average. And yesterday actually Friday, I got long and day traded it. I went to get long for a swing trade yesterday because I thought I was getting back above the anchor from that high, but ended up getting stopped out in this one yesterday. And that was a beautiful thing to get stopped out. Now it looks like we might see a measured move down towards this 17-ish level. So I'm staying away from TGTX. It's below a declining 5-day moving average. Right now, it's just not set up for continued upside. So I've got to move to the sidelines. I've also gotten out of Groupon. It broke higher yesterday. That move failed. From failed moves come fast moves with earnings due, today. I guess they're out and it's bouncing a little bit, but you've got to listen to this action. It looks like it's going, it fails, you got to get out.
Ryan, I'm just going to review quickly here, so give me a second. I just want to get back to the charts here just to give people an idea of what's happening in the market. I'm going to come back to you. I want to talk to you about Coinbase, okay? So, all right, AMD right now, 144. Looks like it wants to try to hold the bid. So that's so far so good. And we'll look at some live quotes right here. There's AMD right now. SBUX. Again, we'll change it up here as well. Starbucks trying to hold bids as well. 77.40. Let's just use the charts right there. Starbucks. We'll look at ANET, of course. Arista Networks did have a push down. They're holding 300. Things seem to be settling down a little bit. And Microsoft right now, again, trying to hold. So maybe some of this news is in. We will now wait for the earnings call. All right, Brian, I mean, this right now is the call. What we're talking about for earnings. This is BTC. So again, on a daily chart, Bitcoin was looking pretty good. I thought there on Monday that we did have a great opportunity to take that 70,000. We ticked just slightly above it. But are we a little bit worried about some of these tops here? And we can use Coinbase. I talked about that a little bit. But this 71, 72 area, it doesn't seem like we want to push through. And that's leading me to think about this Coinbase trade because, again, their earnings coming in 2 days. A little bit choppy here, down 4 or 5% today as Bitcoin retraces. And again, Coinbase, similarly to Bitcoin, has these tops. Anything to look at here, either fib levels or anchors that you're looking at for a well-traded name on our show, Coinbase?
Sure, I think Coinbase, you've got the year-to-date anchor down at about 210. And what I'll point out, Sean, I've been telling Alpha Trends members this a lot lately, is that stocks like Coinbase, like Mara, M-A-R-A,
yep.
M-A-R-A, yep. M-A-R-A, they're failing. They're failing miserably. CLSK. Failing miserably, Riot failing miserably, and then Coinbase is holding up a little bit better because they have more earnings. However, these stocks tend to lead Bitcoin. The rally in these stocks occurred prior to Bitcoin. Bitcoin followed them. These stocks started falling apart, and Bitcoin has followed it. So when you see Bitcoin breaking out and these things start to fail, that means raise your stop up in Bitcoin because these tend to lead the price action in Bitcoin itself.
Yeah, okay, interesting look there. I was, for me, the key level there on Mara, and I almost made this trade on Monday. It was $23. I mean, that level was so huge. I actually drew a line right here. I really, really liked that breakout, and it turned out to be the top. So a good resistance level there. We'll look to see if it can hold this 200 period moving average. Interesting. Thanks for that talk there about potentially leading the way to the downside, giving us an idea of a leading indicator, and that's always what we're talking about. All right, man, it's 4:30. Like, that was wild. That was a wild thing. I'd love to have you on for even longer, but I'm not going to throw you away yet, Brian. I want to hear, is there another name? I know Adara mentioned Groupon, but is there anything else that you've been telling Alpha Trends members or anything that maybe you're looking at to hit somewhere, anything that you're holding now that we can sort of check back with you in the next couple weeks?
I'm almost embarrassed to admit my long holding, my only long holding is in Campbell's Soup, CPB.
Oh, yep.
And I'm embarrassed because it's not really a trading stock. It's a defensive name.
Yep.
Now it's turning into a decent little trade so far. And you've got a great looking weekly chart, but it's Campbell's Soup. It's not going to trade like NVIDIA or any of these sexy names.
What?
But it's doing what it's supposed to do so far. So I'm long this one. And I've also got some short in Duolingo, DUOL from 169 today. So those are my only open positions. I was looking at Cube because this one pays a good dividend and it's a low, more of a defensive type REIT name. But truthfully, Sean, I'm just not seeing a whole lot there. I see a lot of risk. I see DKNG looking like it's about to fall off a cliff here on the weekly time frame.
Oh my God, Brian.
There's just a lot, oil service stocks might be getting ready to do something. They're still kind of stuck in a range, but they're getting more interesting, but they're just not ready there yet. So we've got the Fed tomorrow. We've got all these earnings. I'm just, same theme as last week. I think I told you that I'm keeping it pretty tight to the vest here and waiting for some of this to, just picking my spots intraday, and swing opportunities aren't as great right now.
I hit the bang there because that's funny. With about an hour ago, I mentioned on the show that I thought a name that was very vulnerable was DraftKings. And I'm glad that you just brought that up as well. The interesting thing about Campbell's Soup, and I know the name, and it has a 3% dividend. I thought maybe for your style of trading, you don't really, do you look at the dividends? Because a lot of the times you may be out before there's a dividend payment. Is that something that you often look at? It seems a little strange to hear that from you, just because I know sometimes you're in and out pretty quick. Will you ever hold the thing through a dividend payment, or is that ever part of your plan?
No, you know, I think I received a few dividends in my life, but only by accident.
Right. Okay.
I typically, you know, I had this discussion again today as well, saying that we were talking about Cube and that the next dividend in here, I think, is 51 cents, and it's paid out October 31st or October 30th, maybe, 1st, maybe, whatever the date. It's not till October. Well, we have earnings August 1st. And I said, you know, that's 3 months away. There's a lot of trades in between now and 3 months that we can't really buy. That if I'm going to look for dividend income, I might want to look at something that pays a monthly dividend,
Right?
Because that way you have the opportunity to get paid, and then you've got a favorable tax advantage on dividend income versus capital gains as well, and that's a whole different story that I'm not qualified to have.
Brian, before I let you go, great analysis there, great name with Campbell Soup, and I like that DraftKings talk there and the dividends talk as well. I can't let you go without asking you what your favorite soup is.
I would have to say, being from New England originally,
Okay.
that have to be clam chowder. Chowder.
All right, I'm gonna go with Italian wedding soup as well. We'll stay with our with where we're from. Dara, your favorite soup?
I don't know, chicken noodle. I'm basic. I don't eat a lot of soup, but chowder's pretty good too.
I like tomato. Tomato's okay for a basic soup. Brian, a lot of people are asking us where they can find your book. Where can they?
That's Amazon. That's easy.
There it is, Amazon. It is Maximum Trading Games with Anchored VWAP. Thank you so much to Brian Shannon for coming through again. Go find him at Alpha Trends. Go read this book. It's very important, especially in turbulent markets when you're looking for some levels. Thank you so much, Brian. Enjoy the ride, man. I'm sure by the time we meet next week, we'll have completely different levels to discuss. So thank you again, Brian Shannon.
Great work on the earnings, you guys, both of you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
You.
That's
Take
it.
care.
It's Trader Talk. You know, we don't get feedback too often, but it's great to get it from such a well-respected individual like that. Thank you so much, Brian, for adding to the show. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Oh, you got a little energy drink going on there? I like that. I like that.
It was a very tired day. We got a little energy drink. This is a Rain. I'm not sponsored by Rain.
Well, you are now.
I'm drinking
Get
Rain,
your Rain.
hit me up.
And you know
Rain on me.
All right, yeah, pound that back. All right, right now, AMD, just a quick little update here as we still have over 3,000 watching. AMD comes just like Superman. Here it comes to save the day. I truly believe it did that. To be honest with you, I'm not just saying that for a joke. If AMD had missed, well, I'm saying it for a joke, but if AMD had missed today, this market would have fallen all over itself tomorrow, and I'm still not sure that doesn't happen. I want to go through the report to get a little bit better news there and figure out what's going on, because look what NVIDIA did. NVIDIA is now higher than it was all afternoon, and it is ramping the you-know-what up. It stopped at 100, and it just kept going there. And it's so funny because you guys know we had it up right here on the live level 2 as NVIDIA was getting cranked. You had to have something special in your blood to buy near 100 before AMD comes out. So congratulations if you did that. Starbucks still upside right now. What a great day. Let me just check out Pinterest. I never owned this stock. I believe Neil could still be in it, but I know he might be out of it as well. This is a name that he always talks about, so we'll get his analysis tomorrow on Pins. That's down 15%. Adara, anything else before we wrap?
I mean, there have been so many earnings. Check out the watch list tomorrow where we'll have everything synthesized for you. And also the second channel will have all the news updates. So we'll be able to get all of the essences of all of the earnings, especially after the earnings calls when they come out tonight.
All right, I am back on here on Friday, I believe, this week. But Neil will take it over the next 2 days. Enjoy that show. I'm back here tomorrow at 8:30, where we'll see if we fade or pump the chip names. We'll figure that out very, very soon. It's just one sleep away until this market opens up again. For Sean Katina, that's Adara LePage. And no matter what, you're rocking with Trader TV Live. A big special thank you once again to Brian Shannon. And of course to Ramin. As traders stay late, and we couldn't stay late without her running
roll call.
the board. Oh my, Adara. Oh my, so much happening. As we do roll call, let's get AMD in the background. Yeah, we cannot, thank you, Adara, for that. We almost Wow, could you imagine if we did that? Over 2,800 watching. It's roll call. And thank you, Adrian. Adrian, who super chatted earlier. Here he is right here. Membership. So thank you so much for that. I believe Hey Davis may have as well. Thank you, Hey Davis and Adrian today. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you to Nathan Williams, the philanthropist Baker. We talked about that the other day as well. Nathan Williams is there. Sebastian. Thank you, Sebastian. You're here every day. We do not forget that. Rivian, millionaire. Hey, if you've made $1 million on Rivian, please send some love over here because I gotta buy my wife that R1T and I ain't got no cash, especially after the last couple of days. All right, Christopher Holcomb's here as well. Donkey Trader's here. Bitcoin Trader, that guy might have some money. Bake R City, Mr. Iren is in there. ND Trade is here. George Brothers, thank you so much to Muhammad's here. Apple and raisin pancakes with powdered sugar. What a name that is right there. He says, Sean Inadera. Man, I'm losing my voice if I do this for too much longer. I already am losing my voice. Anyways, thanks for me for that water earlier. I don't think I drank it, but thank you for that. B. Davis, in Sue we trust. That is right. We will see more from Lisa
soon.
And the company. We will hear that soon with Lisa Sue on the call. Again, it's Trader TV Live. It's been a blast. We're exhausted, but we're doing it all again tomorrow. Join us at 8:30. Ciao, everybody.